Definitely sounds windy.
Whitney Young football is on the air. How's everybody doing out there? We're a little bit delayed here. The game before us was a glorified version of touch football. The team sort of went back and forth and scored and had penalties and other things like that. But anyway, we're going to get Whitney Young football against the Westinghouse Warriors underway here shortly. I'm Barry Newman, joined today by the pride of Random Lake, Wisconsin, Northwestern University, and Cedar Rapids, Iowa, Doug Newman. Doug, good to have you.
Hey, it's good to be here. We'll apologize up front for any mistakes in the next 2 hours.
I'm not sure we can put that disclaimer. I mean, I'm sure we can. So ESPN has the Manning brothers, and Whitney Young football has the Newman brothers. And I think there's some similarities there. You sort of have the highly accomplished, well-spoken older brother, and then you sort of have the buffoon younger brother who's just kind of gotten lucky at a lot of things in life. We'll let everybody out there decide which brother is which.
I was going to say there's probably there might be a few people in the listening audience that followed all of that, but maybe a lot that didn't. But anyway, it is good to be here, and we'll bring you Whitney Young football here in just a little bit. About 17 minutes or so left on the clock until we get underway for kickoff. I know this is a lot later than initially anticipated, but hang in there with us.
Yeah, and so as we lead up to that, we'll talk about this Whitney Young team as well as Westinghouse. I had a chance earlier this week to catch up with Coach Dan Finger. I'm going to get his interview queued up here shortly. And we'll have to hear what he has to say. Sorry, it's a little bit windy here, so you might be catching some background noise, but we're going to be holding the game shortly. And here's what Coach Finger had to say earlier this week. I'm here with Coach Daniel Finger. Coach Finger, last week had some things rolling right before halftime. 22-7, had an opportunity right after half, but then Phillips, I mean, a team that came in with a few losses, but we knew what we were probably facing. What were your thoughts coming out of that game?
Yeah, you know, they're a great team with some really good athletes and, FBS football players over there and guys who can really go, but, we were a little disappointed with how we came out just because we proved right from the jump, force 3 and out, block a punt, that we can hang, and our execution just has to be better. And, that's something we talked about all week and broke down on the film, and I'm excited to see what we've learned as a group coming off of it.
All right, very good. So we faced Westinghouse. Looking back at Westinghouse last year, tough game. We came out on top of that, but I think one of the things when I was looking back at it, you just know that Westinghouse is tough. I mean, they play tough. What are you expecting on both sides of the ball?
Yeah, they've got they're always going to be physical up front and sort of that West Side mentality that they bring. But their quarterback's a great athlete. He's got a pretty good arm, and then he's really shifty in the backfield and sort of is the engine that makes their whole offense go. And then defensively, they're going to give us that under front, so the one technique to the field, to the wide side of the field, and between the center and the guard, and then the 3 tech between the guard and the tackle to the boundary, which is a little different than we normally get. So that's been fun to prepare for, but they're going to play a lot of cover 3, cover 1, and even some cover 0. So going to be sending a lot of guys frequently, and we've been working on picking up those blitzes all week.
All right, very good. And then special teams will also mention, because Westinghouse is a team that they don't hesitate onside kicks just about every time they have an opportunity to kick off. I saw a fake punt that they ran against Phillips, so they're just trying to maximize the number of possessions that they have during a game.
Definitely, yeah. The games we've got of them on film, they've faked a punt in the two most recent ones, 2 different kinds of punt fakes, and onside almost 4 times as many times as they'll kick it deep. So we're going to go hands team on all kick returns, and we've got we feel really good about what we've got set up for that, and our punt block as well. We're gonna go after it, but we're gonna do it somewhat conservatively. We think special teams is an opportunity for us not just to win the field position battle with them, taking some risks like that, but also create some big plays. So our guys have been working really hard at it all week, and excited to watch them put it on display.
All right, very good. Thanks a lot, Coach. Go Dolphins.
Thanks. Go Dolphins.
All right, that's what Coach Dan Finger had to say. He touched on a few topics there. On the offensive side of the ball, you'll see a lot of their quarterback, Askaya Bully. Bully number 1 is a kid who is just dynamic back there. I once saw a description of Kyler Murray, one of the scouts at the NFL Combine, said he looks like that kid who, like that toddler who stole your phone, just running every different direction, evading you in all possible ways, and that's what you're going to see out of Bully. I mean, we're going to really have to lock down multiple people tackling him. He keeps plays alive with his feet and gains yards, but also keeps plays alive and starts looking downfield, and they like to throw the ball deep in those instances. On the defensive side of the ball, Coach Finger was talking a lot of technical speak there, but you'll see Westinghouse with 4 down linemen, and then they'll walk up 2 inside linebackers. Almost every single play, they'll walk those guys up, and they're trying to give the quarterback a different look, trying to figure out. Sometimes both of those guys blitz. Sometimes they blitz right up the center, the A gap as they call it. Sometimes one guy will blitz, the other guy will drop back in coverage, and sometimes they'll both drop back in coverage. So trying to just give you a lot of different looks to confuse the Whitney Young quarterback and trying to figure out what they should be doing. And then, yes, the special teams will be interesting. I don't even think they call it an onside kick here at Westinghouse. I just think they call it a kick because that's what they do. But then they're also definitely not afraid to fake punts, do whatever they can to maximize those possessions.
Quite a few onside kicks in the earlier game that we watched part of here today as well. That just seems to be a trend in high school football, I guess, to try a lot of those. So we'll have to see how all that goes. I was wondering if the wind was going to affect special teams or the kicking game, but we really didn't get to see much for depth kicks to even know that. We do have for the viewing audience, the wind is blowing from your right to your left, and it's pretty stiff wind at times here. I think 15 or 20 miles an hour, so we'll have to see how that affects the play today.
Yeah, I already told Doug we don't talk about miles per hour, we talk about knots. How many knots is this wind?
I don't know.
Yeah, I do not either. But yes, I think it'll definitely impact the passing game. Just even watching Whitney Young warming up right now, you can tell a difference as they were throwing into the wind for most of those things. Felicia Spivak is joining us right now. Felicia is going to work the camera today. So this is your seat if you want to, yep, we got you all set up there. So we're hoping we can get it squared away here that everybody has a good view of things. Felicia will be on the camera. Felicia also is the connection for Whitney Young football to Sorelli's. So Sorelli's, if that's on your bingo card and on your wish list for catering needs within Chicago, or if you're looking for that Italian beef sandwich to be delivered to you, a care package, get that set up for just about any time. So check out Sorelli's online, get that order in. Thanks again, Felicia, for joining us today.
Barry, are you a guy that likes your Italian beef with cheese or without cheese?
I think that you go without cheese. Felicia's just looking at me like, so we have a few side bets on the Newman side right now about what sort of phrases we might be able to work into the broadcast today. So I'd take an Italian beef sandwich without the cheese, but I would take the cheese tray. I would take the entire cheese tray to go. So we'll say this. Let me talk a little bit about the Westinghouse game last year. So today, while it is a little bit on the chilly side, maybe a little bit of wind, last year's game was in a torrential rainstorm. and lightning caused us to clear the Rockne Stadium 2 different times last year, and the final score of that game was 21-12. Again, Coach Finger mentioned, I mean, Westinghouse is a tough team, tough West Side school that they like to hit, they like to play hard, they like to play, as we say, to the echo of the whistle, and we'll see a lot of that today. So last year's game, and some of this was going to translate this year as well. Coach Finger talked about, when he talked about cover 3, cover 1, cover 0, that's all talking about the zone defense that the Warriors tend to run, which means there are going to be some openings in the passing game. They tend to not give up some things deep. But last year, I would say Patrick McHale as a quarterback for the Whitney Young Dolphins probably had the most yardage he had all year. So he really clicked big time with Anthony Hood on a number of throws early. Had a touchdown to Sam Wyatt. Sam Wyatt now out at Pomona College, hooked up on a wheel route to the tight end for a score there. And then as the game wore on, it was really the Whitney Young offensive line led by Tommy Basario, who was sort of able to wear down Westinghouse, and also McHale and Frank Skotanis making some big plays on the ground, getting some key first downs. In that game, a couple other things to note. I mean, it was probably the one pass that the Dolphins gave up over the top last year for a touchdown early in that game. We've seen a lot of those things happen this year. That's the difference of having a younger defensive backfield. So also we mentioned about Bully and how he keeps plays alive, and he's going to be looking deep. So a huge part for our cornerbacks today is to not let guys get beyond them, get behind them, and especially when the wind is behind Bully, when he's heading off to the left-hand side, I'm sure they're going to want to take a bunch of deep shots. And then the other notable thing in that game is that after there was I think Alex Dale caused a fumble. Then he had a really nice reception that he took down to the 1-yard line. McHale went in for the touchdown. Basically no time remaining, but the Dolphins had a kickoff. And then a return that if the Benny Hill music, and this is a dated reference, of course, but for any of you out there that were fans, I don't know, were you a fan of Benny Hill? I think it's just something that you happen to stumble across. Anyway, if the Benny Hill theme music would have been going on, that would have been a perfect theme for that kickoff return, which made the final score in that game 21-12. Whitney Young beating the Westinghouse Warriors last year. We talk about Westinghouse this year, so they come in with a 3-3 record. So they started off the year, lost to Oak Forest, 31-18. Then a big win over their local rival. So they play Robbie in a game called the Janice Jackson Classic. Janice Jackson was a principal at both schools and a really strong Chicago Public Schools administrator over the years. So they won that game big, 44-6. Then they played Curie in the crossover game. So when we were playing Simeon, they were playing against Curie on the Red South, and so they took care of Curie 44-12. Then they played against Phillips, and this is a really interesting game, and this is the one where I think opened a lot of people's eyes for this Westinghouse team, because they ended up losing to Phillips 22-12. But we know in seeing Phillips last week that that's a high-quality team. I mean, it's a team that hasn't lost a conference game in 5+ years. And for them to only lose 22-18, a lot of people were checking that out. I'll talk a little more in a second about some of the things that I saw in that game on both Phillips and Westinghouse side of the ball that could be interesting. Then they were able to knock off Clark in the following week. So we know we lost to Clark 14-12. So in the transitive property that comes up, if you have transitive property on your bingo card, you can mark that down. Transitive property, Clark lost to Westinghouse 34-30. So Westinghouse put up some big points in that game. And we know Clark was a good team. We felt like we played them very evenly or, slightly above them. We just had a game where things did not go our direction. So they got a win over Clark. And then they lost last week to Taft 23-6. So they come in at 3-3. A lot to play for all of these teams right now as we move closer to the Chicago Public League playoff schedule. So that'll be interesting things coming up. Whitney Young, of course, comes in at 1-5, a win over Good in the second week of the year. And we'll talk a lot about some of these other opponents. So lost to Hope in the first week, losses to Simeon, Clark, Lane Tech, and then Phillips last week. So the remaining games on our schedule are Westinghouse today, Taft next Friday, Hubbard, and then probably a Week 10 game. We have to make sure that makes its way onto the schedule. We're a little unsure right now just based on what the Chicago Public League playoff schedule will be and what that will look like. I'm just going to check one thing on the camera. If we pan over this way, are we going to end up with some people's heads in our way? So we might. Are you okay if we stand up? So I'm going to just bear with us right now. Doug, I'll let you fill for a second. We're just going to raise the you want to scoot you over? I'm going to raise the tripod up.
We were talking about the wind earlier. I was watching the kickers warming up in the pregame, and into the wind for Whitney Young. I think nailed 5 out of 6 from about 20 yards out. So practicing about extra point depth and just a little bit more than that. Seemed to be nailing them pretty good. So maybe the wind isn't much a factor, and good to see a really strong warm up out of the kicking game. As we get the camera reset here, we've got about 2.5 minutes now showing on the clock. I know, again, for those of you that might just be tuning in now, we're getting a very late start. There was an earlier game here at the Westinghouse field that put up about 100 points and took a long time. So a late start here on a Saturday afternoon, but we're getting close. Again, with about just a couple minutes left here before we should see kickoff.
Thanks for that, Phil. Doug, I think we're doing pretty well there now. Sorry, Ellison Newman, if you're watching and you got a little motion sickness while we were moving the camera around, but hopefully that will give us a better view. We had kind of wanted to see if we could sit here, but the fans are filling in, which is great. A few updates I'm going to give on the Dolphins side of the ball from who's here, who's not here today from an injury perspective. And we know we lost Luke Yolich in the second game of the year with a broken collarbone, but so Luke is out for the year. Did have a chance to catch up with him. I love that kid. He's one of my favorites, always with a smile on his face. So we'll have to see if he's here today. His arm is out of the sling. Luke is a big-time baseball player, so I don't know if we've mentioned that, but Luke was second-team All-City as a freshman last year at Whitney Young, and that guy just hits. He just from the first day he walked on the field, he is a hitter. He's a shortstop, sweet fielding shortstop. So Luke, not with us on the football field, but we'll be back training soon for baseball, and we'll be 100% fine for the baseball season. So Luke is out, as we know. Some injuries from last week. Harrison Gassa, unfortunately, on a really nice catch that he made, he has an ankle injury and is likely out for the rest of the year. So that definitely hurts us at the wide receiver position, as well as Harrison is playing a lot on the defensive side on the D-line. We're also going to be without both Juan Cepeda and Rico D'Alessandro today. So Juan is starting offensive lineman and defensive lineman, and Rico, who is getting a lot of time at wide receiver and on the D-line as well. So we'll have to see. Coach Malik Leonard will have a challenge there to mix some guys in. We talked about Bully as their quarterback being somebody who's extremely mobile, moves around a lot. Definitely need to be what we talk about, gap discipline. So those defensive linemen need to push up field, but they also need to stay in their lanes and not try to make too many hero plays as they go out there. So we've got the captains now in the middle of the field. Captains for the Whitney Young Dolphins: Joseph Clayton, Bennett Newman, Anthony Hood, and Alexander Dale are out there. If I actually watch the whole way on the coin flip and I figure out what happened, this will be my first of the year. I'm 0 for 6 on watching captains go out to the field and get the coin toss. Usually I'm off talking about something else or trying to fix something on the live stream. What are you going to do today if you win the toss?
Do you just guess then on the flip, and you've been wrong 0 for 6 times, or you just miss it?
I just miss it all together, and all of a sudden I look up and we're kicking off, and I'm like, oh well, I guess Whitney Young won the toss and deferred to the second half, which is what I assume that normally they do. Although Westinghouse, with their proclivity to onside kick, they may think about it a little bit differently. Who knows? We'll have to see. So still the conversation going on. Julius Carter is the head coach of Westinghouse. Daniel Finger in his 4th year here with the Dolphins.
There you talk about injuries. I'm, a casual observer of Whitney Young football, but again, some comparisons to the game that we saw earlier today. I know I've heard you talk a lot this year about how young this team is, but the numbers on the team are strong. I mean, the teams playing earlier today had probably 50% fewer players, so hopefully even with those injuries, it gives some new guys a chance to step up, and certainly pretty strong numbers on the football program at Whitney Young, again, from a casual observer's standpoint.
So Whitney Young won and deferred, and they will be kicking left to right, so they'll be going into the wind in the first quarter. Westinghouse will have the wind at their backs. Westinghouse numbers will be a little bit tough for us to call up here. But Doug, yeah, as you were saying, and if you're a Whitney Young Dolphin fan, you know that we don't have a lot of seniors on this team. So 3 seniors, Alexander Dale being a starter, who starts both at tight end and at the linebacker position. Jacob Mraz, who probably will be seeing some time, could be at both the wide receiver and the D line spot, is another one of the seniors. And Brandon Bardsma, I think, remains out. So Brandon plays on the soccer team as well as the football team. He's been out for a while with a lower leg injury. He was our punter kicker as well as doing some things in the defensive backfield. So I think he's going to stay out today, which means that the kicking duties will be handled. The kickoff will be handled by Alexander Dale. And then, Doug, yeah, you talked about Solomon Bradley. Solomon Bradley has booted through a couple extra points the last few weeks, and good to see him in the field. And so hopefully we see a lot of Solomon Bradley today.
About 45 minutes after scheduled kickoff, here we go.
All right. Great to have you here again, Doug. Thanks for checking in with me. We've got the assignments of the Dolphin Broadcast Network. We've got Tony McHale. He's down in Indiana today. He's visiting former Dolphin quarterback Patrick McHale, who was a freshman at Indiana and working for the football team there in the recruiting office. So Tony's down there. I think the Hoosiers are taking on Michigan today in Bloomington. We got Scott Clayton, who is actually in the house. Scott just back from his Italy vacation. And we've got Jack Wildermuth in the air right now. Hopefully you hear us, Jack. Jack's coming back from Australia right now. And he's probably the dessert cart pulling up in business class. Jack tuning in to the Dolphins. And here, kick away. Alexander Dale pops it up. This is going to be a free, it goes out of bounds. So I thought maybe the Dolphins were, after they saw all those quasi-onside kicks, were trying one of their own. But the ball goes out of bounds, and the Warriors will take over for a first down just outside their 40-yard line. I think it'll be about the 42-yard line. So we've got a tough angle right now as far as seeing who's all starting. It looks like Nick Dale and Baba Nefesimi Opedele and Barry Gordon on the defensive line. Tyson Hayes, also a guy who had an injury at last week's game, but he's doing well and is back on the field. So looks like the referees are getting the chain gang all squared away.
Really not much of a penalty on that. Ball went out of bounds at about the 38, and we're going to start from the 43. So it didn't hurt the Dolphins too bad there on that out-of-bounds kickoff.
Yep, so Bully, the quarterback, he's got running back behind him, running back in motion to his left. That's going to be a illegal procedure call, I think. I think the running back in motioned a little bit too far to his right toward the line of scrimmage before the ball was snapped. So we'll try to do our best. I think we have the Westinghouse roster that was on Max Preps. I'm not sure it matches up exactly. I am fairly certain that this guy at Bully is the quarterback and is the guy that we're going to be calling out the most during the game. But that's a 5-yard penalty. Now I get a little bit of a better angle, so I can see that Jacob Mraz is starting at the right defensive end spot. Now the referees are walking the other way. I don't know what they're doing. Anyway, let me tell you who's all out there. So Quinn Duhan back at the free safety spot. Maxwell Warner, number 28, is playing that far side corner. Joe Gray is on the right side cornerback, and your linebackers are Alexander Dale and Joseph Clayton, as well as Tyson Hayes at that super back position. So trying to get things squared away. We've walked back and forth a couple times. Now I think the referees are agreeing that it was a 5-yard penalty. 5-yard penalty, taking it back to about the 38-yard line. Bully checking the sideline for the signals. The Whitney Young fans have the cowbells out, I think, unless they were coming from Westinghouse. Maybe everybody's got a cowbell. We're actually pretty solidly in the Westinghouse section here, so we'll have to watch what we're saying. Bully back for the pass. He's got it completed over to the right-hand side for about 5 yards. Looks like Nick Dale and Brian Pantoja were up on the tackle. So it looks like both Pantoja and Joseph Gray, freshman, along with Maxwell Warner, freshman, are at those cornerback positions. Bully with a 2nd and 5. He hands it off. They've got some room up the middle. Running back still on his feet, pushed out of bounds by Duhan and Alexander Dale. So that was number 2, Tyler Randall, a 5'10", 160-pound senior. Got a big hole off the left-hand side.
Broke a couple tackles on the way as well. Nice run by them.
So Westinghouse playing some tempo here, so they're just back on the line. Another handoff up the middle. That was Randall on the carry again. He picks up about 5 or 6. I think Joseph Clayton on the bottom of that pile for the tackle for the Dolphins. So Westinghouse comes up 2nd and 5 in Dolphins territory. And there's Bully back to pass. And nice pursuit over on the side by Joseph Clayton.
Strong coverage downfield there, too. That was not a planned quarterback sneak. He just didn't have anywhere to go.
Yep, and we're going to see a lot of that. So Bully, I think, takes maybe his first or his second read, then tries to start creating some things, and then maybe checks downfield and see if somebody's deep for him. So that brings up 3rd down. Handoff up the middle. Met and stopped by Alexander Dale.
Definitely short. We'll have to see what they decide to do here on 4th.
They're going to go for it. I think that we're going to rarely see the Westinghouse punt team out there. So this is where that D-line, makeshift D-line right now with Cepeda and D'Alessandro and Gassa out. See if they can get some pressure. There was some movement there, and that was movement on the Warriors.
That'll push it back another 5.
So that helps the cause. So that was about a 4th and probably a long 2. Going to turn into a 4th and 7. Again, we mentioned Wind picking up here at the back of Bully and the Warriors right now. So Bully in the shotgun, running back to his right. He corrals the snap. He throws deep and too deep. And the Whitney Young Dolphins will take over on downs. So what I've seen a lot on film, and you'll see a lot of balance out of this Warriors team. But they do like to chuck it deep, and Bully was too deep there. So Whitney Young takes the field. We'll have to see, also with Cepeda out, I think we'll have Chase Green starting on the offensive line. Bennett Newman at quarterback. He's got Joseph Clayton behind him. Quinn Duhan, Anthony Hood split wide as wide receivers. Alexander Dale in motion. There's the handoff to Clayton. Maybe gets a couple right up the middle. So call it 2 yards on that first down handoff. And without a doubt, the Dolphins want to have a balanced attack here. Want to be able to get some run game going, which we've struggled on a little bit this year. And keep the Dolphins off balance. So 2nd and 8. Newman at quarterback. Duhan in motion. Flip to Duhan. Duhan getting the edge.
Got some room.
Duhan still on his feet. Out to close to the 50-yard line. So for Jim and Diane Brown out there, your grandson picks up a first down, and the Dolphins' drive is underway.
And officially a pass on the forward shovel there, so some nice passing yardage.
Good for Newman's stats.
Yep.
You like to complete those, like to get that rolling. All right, so first down. Still in Warrior territory, about at the 48-yard line. Warriors bring the heat on Newman. He gets it out just a little bit high. Over the top of, I think that was Joseph Gray over there.
Proving, though, that they're not going to be afraid to throw into this wind. As you have been saying, hopefully a balanced attack, and sometimes you worry about teams not wanting to take on the wind, but good pass attempt there.
Yeah, and that's just so looks like Hood is now at the quarterback position. So Hood gets the direct snap. He's got nice carry, still on his feet. Picks up about 8 yards to the 42. So we've seen a lot of this. We've seen Anthony Hood in that wildcat position. Last week with Newman a little bit dinged up early in the week, Hood took more of the traditional quarterback snaps, but definitely going to see a lot of this variation throughout the day. Again, keeping the Warrior defense on their heels. So Hood comes back in with the play, and Hood can definitely throw the ball. I mean, he's a dynamic player wherever you put him. You put him at wide receiver, you put him at quarterback, you put him at running back. We saw him a bunch in running back and in the good game. So that brings up a 3rd and short, 3rd and about 1.5 yards. Hood calling the signals. And MJ Woods jumped off sides there, I think. So exactly the situation that Westinghouse was in on 4th down with the 3rd down and short. Woods trying to jump out of his position and get a solid block on jumped off sides. So that'll bring up 3rd and call it 6.5.
They had really spread the formation there on 3rd and 1. They had 3 wide, even with 3rd and 1, but now you're going to be a little bit more traditional spread, looking to pick it up on 3rd and 6.
Yep, so Hood stays in the game. He's running to his right, and he's brought down for a couple-yard loss on that. So good pursuit coming off that left edge for the Westinghouse Warriors. Brings Hood down. We'll see what looks like the Dolphins are going to go for it. They're bringing in Newman. So it'll be 4th and 8 from just inside the 50-yard line. So split wide is Joseph Gray, I do believe. Alexander Dale. We have, I think, Anthony Hood probably closest to us. Tough to see on our. So we get another penalty. And that was a procedure penalty on the Dolphins. And I think now Coach Finger, with the Dolphins well behind the sticks, is deciding to punt the ball away. You could get those 5 yards back if they snap. And so I don't know if Westinghouse did that on purpose because they knew they weren't going to get somebody off the field. So now, what do? Coach Finger's like, you give me those 5 yards back. I had a good play dialed up. I'm going to bring the offense back out here again. So offense back on the field. So forget about the procedure penalty. Forget about and now Westinghouse is going to take a timeout because they had guys running back and forth trying to figure out which direction was which.
Definitely some confusion, really for a couple of consecutive plays there.
Maybe there's some leftover karma from the game that was here before, because that game either was a run that went through 11 guys on the other team that seemed a little bit afraid to make a tackle, or it was a procedure penalty, which is why the thing ended up about, I don't know, at least 45 minutes later than what it should have been.
Yeah, it's hard not to talk about that game just a little bit.
Seared in my memory, man.
Yeah.
I've got PTSD of watching the worst football game of my life.
The art of tackling no longer being taught in at least a couple of Chicago high schools.
That's right. So now that we have a little bit of time here, I'll talk about the offensive line. So again, MJ Woods is playing right guard. Jason Perez, right tackle. Nick Dale at center. Chase Green and Baba Nefasimi on the left side. So big 4th down play. Newman gets a blitz immediately, gets it over to Clayton. Clayton is still on his feet.
First down. And
first down and more. All the way out to the 25-yard line. That was all Joseph Clayton. So Westinghouse came with a full-out blitz. Newman's pass was tipped, but Clayton was able to corral it and then looked like he was stopped short and just kept his legs going and picked up a big-time first down out to the 25-yard line.
On a 4th down play.
All right, so Clayton actually comes out, gets a quick drink of water. Maxwell Warner is in at running back, so the freshman phenom on the JV side now gets some tick on the offensive side for the Dolphins. Newman calling signals. Handoff to Max. Well, you know, there's your first varsity carry. Actually, I think he had one earlier this year, so that lost a couple yards. Couple yards to bring up 2nd and 12. Dolphins driving here. 5:48 left in the first quarter. Again, mentioned some of the guys out, so mentioned that Harrison Gassa is out at wide receiver, so we're getting a lot of action from some of the freshmen. Joseph Gray is closest to us, number 10. Sophomore Quinn Duhan in the slot. I think Quinn's going to have a big day today. So now a procedure penalty against the Dolphins. I'm not sure if somebody jumped on the line of scrimmage or what was going on there.
I didn't see anything there. I'm not sure what they saw down there on the field, but that's 3 or 4 procedure penalties already with the two teams combined here in the first quarter.
Yeah, that pre-snap stuff will really drive a coach crazy. So Newman collects the play from offensive coordinator Eddie Boucher. Wind is picking up here a little bit. We of course put Felicia on the windy side, so I'm hiding behind her. She's wind blocking for me. Thank you very much. Okay, trips to Newman's right, 3 receivers to his right. Running back to his left. Newman back to pass. He's looking in the middle for Joseph Clayton again. Clayton maybe gets back to the original line of scrimmage. Picked up 2 or 3 on that play.
Westinghouse brought just 4 there. They did get some pressure off of a 4-man rush, and when the pass was first completed, I thought there might be some room, but they did have 7 back and were able to rally to the ball pretty quickly there. Going to be a tough 3rd and possibly 4th down attempts here. Still behind the chains.
Yep, so now we'll watch Westinghouse again. A lot of times they bring pressure from the middle linebackers. Doesn't seem like they're doing this time. Probably giving a cover 3. Newman on a rollout and intercepted. Intercepted off on the side. So Newman was rolling to his left. And the pass got picked off by Westinghouse. Still well back in their territory, so
2 receivers out there, 1 deep and 1 short. The pass kind of between them.
So coaches have a quick conversation with Newman. On the sidelines, Westinghouse and Bully back on the field for their second drive. 4:03 left here, no score in the first quarter. Handoff up the middle. And that's breaking away is the Westinghouse running back before he's brought down by Quinn Duhan over on the left-hand side. So Westinghouse, again, playing tempo. They want to maximize their touches on the ball. Bully with the keeper. Barry Gordon stays home, does his job. Bully was still able to get out there and pick up 6 or 7, but that's the job of the defensive end. So on this side, number 2, BG3, Barry Gordon, stayed home and at least forced that play back inside. 2nd down and about 4. Bully now looks to pass over on the side. It's caught, but actually ended up picking up a few yards close to the 1st down marker. Looked like Dale and Maxwell Warner on the tackle. So we'll see if they mark off. They're calling it a 1st down. So that's where I said earlier, I mean, Westinghouse scares me a lot more in this short passing game because I think Bully has a nice arm. You got to sort of stay back because you're afraid of him running, and so you can dink and dunk some of those things. That running play, big
Nice.
block in the back as well. So awesome tackle by Tyson Hayes, who took a shot in the back before he made the tackle. So you've got a tackle for loss and a block in the back. We'll have to figure out again on how some of these IHSA rules work. I'm not sure if that is a spot foul. But great job that time by Tyson. Pursuing, making the tackle through the penalty as well. So yes, these penalties can be pretty egregious the way it works out. So they're marching that all the way back to about the 32-yard line. Brings up
23, I think, about 23 yards to go.
Yep, so it's a repeat of 1st down, 1st and 23. Bully back to pass, looking deep, throwing deep. He's got a guy open. So Quinn Duhan makes the tackle, but Bully threw a laser out there to the 40 and a 1st down. So 1st and 23, but Bully definitely has an arm, has mobility, and was able to find a spot in the zone. Now he flips it over here to the running back, number 2. He's still on his feet. Gang tackled by the Dolphins, so actually minimal gain on that. Looks like Joseph Gray on the bottom of that, so you whip that over Bully to Randall, the running back. I think we also see Dwayne Brooks in the game, number 3. So 2nd down at about 7. Bully back to pass, quick pass over to the side, off his receiver's hands and out of bounds. So that'll bring up 3rd down. So you've seen Bully be able to throw it deep and also getting it out there quickly. You know, the Dolphins typically in some sort of zone coverage, so they're not playing press on the receivers. Not the defensive backs, as you can see, there's about a 7-yard cushion that they give them, which is just the way you work in a zone defense. But what Westinghouse has been trying to do is hit those receivers on some of these quick passes and pick up some yardage. So Bully there did a faked it, a little shoulder shrug, and then went downfield to his receiver number 7, A.J. Powell. But Powell was not able to bring it in. It was a nice pass.
Powell sliding a little bit, trying to make that catch, and probably was a catchable ball. Brings up 4th down here.
Yep, so 4th and call it 6. Referees gathering together here with 1:30 left in the first quarter. This is the 2nd drive for Westinghouse. The Dolphins had 1 drive, had a nice first down pickup by Quinn Duhan, then a huge first down off of 4th down by Joseph Clayton, but that drive stalled after it didn't stall, but an interception. Is that a stall?
That was a stall.
That's a hard stall.
Not sure what the conversation was here for the referees, but the ball spotted as it was, and no penalty or anything, so we're back underway. Big 4th down play.
Big 4th down play. Again, Dolphins need to be assignment pure with Bully potentially, and then the whistle is sounded before it gets under play. A procedure penalty, illegal procedure on Westinghouse, so they'll back it up 5 yards. I don't know, we could, in theory, keep track of the number of procedure penalties. We got a nice crowd out here today. I mean, really, like, these bleachers are filled really good. You know what? It's Westinghouse homecoming. I forgot about that, so we got a really good, not to say they don't always turn out in force, but Westinghouse homecoming, as well as a good contingent of Dolphin fans who travel well for these games as well.
It's a good football day.
Yeah.
You really had no excuse to not come out if you were planning on coming out today.
All right, so 4th down and about 11. Bully at his 45, looks back to pass, now looking to run, now looking to pass, now looking to run, now passes deep, and the pass is broken up by Joseph Gray. And that's exactly what you want to do on that, Joe Gray. Break that up. I'm going to make sure that it's Joseph Gray because the 16 and the 10 are really hard, so it was Joseph Gray. Sometimes I apologize to Brian Pantoja and his family out there if I ever take any solid plays away from Brian because the 16 and 10 look a lot alike. But that gives the Dolphins the ball back at the 41. At their 41. Newman in at QB, 1:28 left in the first quarter. Anthony Hood wide to his right. Joseph Clayton in the backfield next to him. Somehow there was some Westinghouse had a change out their safety for some reason or other, so the referees held up the play there for a second. So 1st down, Dolphins take over for their 2nd drive. Hand off to Clayton. He's got some room. He's pushing it up to the 50-yard line. Nice to see this Dolphins rushing attack getting some things going. Got that going off the right-hand side where mad cute Jason Perez and MJ Woods holding things down. So 2nd down. I'm going to call it 1. I think that yard marker might be a little bit off there. So 2nd down. Under 1 minute left here in the first quarter. Newman at quarterback. Clayton behind him. He gets Dale going in motion to his right. Hand off to Clayton. Clayton with a head of steam. Clayton out to the 35-yard line with a 1st down. So Dolphin drive into Westinghouse Warriors territory.
As you talked about in the pregame there, you saw their 2 linebackers walk up right at the right before the snap, trying to cause some confusion. 4 down linemen, and all of a sudden you were looking at 6 on the line, but broke right through there. Some great blocking up front on that run.
Yeah, which then gives you some room to navigate in that secondary when you have those linebackers, if you can get by them on your initial burst. So first down, 10. Newman pulls it. Passes just behind Anthony Hood, so I think Anthony actually brought it in. But too bad, because it ended up being a loss of yardage, and that's the end of the first quarter. So just a little bit off there on the timing from Newman to Hood. Completion, but they lost a few yards. But still, ball in Dolphins territory. I'm going to see if I can navigate over here to the scoreboard and say that it's the second quarter.
Good balance by both teams right now, trying to keep track of this a little bit on the drive chart, but both teams with a handful of passes and some runs. Both teams showing a lot of diversity in the play calling.
Yeah, well, the ball's moved back and forth. We're kind of grinding out between the 20s right now. See if the Dolphins can sustain this drive. I mean, this is one of the things that we've seen. I mean, this Dolphins team has had stretches where they've been able to move the ball, but, Coach Finger has mentioned as well, it's about executing when we get into the red zone, executing when you get into the opposing territory. And so already today we've seen an interception on a drive. Hopefully they can get this one going. Felicia, how's everything going over there? You think it's going okay? All right, so Felicia taking care of things on the camera, taking care of things with, that was a Sorelli's quarter change. So second quarter brought to you by Sorelli's Finer Foods, as well as the first quarter. Everybody thinking about your Italian beef sandwich? You want to order that up at Sorelli's ASAP. Brandon Dockett checking in the game at wide receiver. I think that Hood is at quarterback right now. So Hood on for the second down play. Hood takes a direct snap, and he's got some room to run. Turns it up, gets to the 30, so picked up about 8 or 9 on that play. And again, we talked about the wind, so the wind now to the back of the Dolphins. So with Hood, when Hood checks in at quarterback, there's when you see some of the changes at wide receiver. So Brandon Dockett came in at number 11. So Hood still in there. Again, he's got Nick Dale as his center, Chase Green and MJ Woods, as well as Baba Nefasimi Opadele and Jason Perez on the offensive line. So Hood takes the direct snap, heading upfield. He's got a first down to the 20. So this could be a game, if you think back to the good game, second game of the year, where that Dolphins rushing attack really came alive. And through the course of that game, Anthony Hood had 2 touchdowns in that game. Luke Jolich had a touchdown, and Joseph Clayton had a long run in that game. Looks like hoping the Dolphin rushing attack can keep things moving here. So Newman back in at quarterback. Clayton to his left in the backfield. Newman gets the snap, handoff to Clayton. He's going to be wrapped up in the backfield by a host of Warriors. See, that's what happens when I talk too much about the rushing game, right? Jeez. It's all my fault, man.
It was effective out of the Wildcat, but not nearly as effective when they haven't been in the Wildcat.
So Anthony Hood to the top of the screen as a wide receiver. Alexander Dale, tight end, to the right. Clayton to Newman's right. Newman calling signals, gets Dale in motion. He's got a blitz on. He's got it picked off over the middle. So he had Duhan down the seam. He was under duress in the backfield, and the lurking safety was able to jump in there because he did have Duhan open for which would have been a touchdown.
You're exactly right on that. That was he thought he was open, and the safety made a nice play to come over.
So second turnover where the Dolphins were driving. So the upside is you're not turning over into a bad area of the field, but the downside is you're turning it over and you're not getting the end zone. So still no score here. 9:52 left in the first half. Handoff to Westinghouse. Duhan on the tackle along with Alexander Dale. So that was short gain on that handoff. So those inside linebackers, I mean, Clayton and Dale were the leading tacklers on last year's team, and they continue to do it. Looks like a blitz coming off the side. Nice pressure by that entire Dolphins defense. Dolphins do not often dial up blitzes, but I think that was Tyson Hayes off on the right-hand side. They ran it to the left, but I think you probably had Barry Gordon, Baba Nefasimi, and Jacob Moraz on that line taking care of business. So that brings up third and long. That lost a couple yards, I think. Oh, I might be off a little bit here. Am I off?
I think the chain gang is off here.
Okay, well, we might be right. So third down play. Bully hits on a first down pass over on his right-hand side to number 9, Matthew Sims Jr. So again, Bully, when he's been able to flip it out there with the Dolphins in that zone coverage, he's been able to take advantage with some of those quick looks to wide receivers, which is something that these guys do. It's something that is big time in Westinghouse's playbook. Another short pass over to the running back. Great play. Really at the lock in. I think that was Maxwell Warner on that side. Maxwell Warner or maybe Anthony Hood, but whatever it was a great tackle on that running back screen because he had some room if you weren't going to get that, weren't going to bring that guy down. So Bully with the handoff up the middle, and that's Alexander Dale. Big tackle there, bringing up third down. So Dale coming from his inside linebacker position, shot the gap there. Tackle for loss. Bringing up third down. So this is where it gets some solid pressure up the middle on Bully. He's got a lot of time. Baba Nefasimi going through there a little bit. He got held.
Flags down.
Yep, flags down. So Barry Gordon ushering him out of bounds eventually. Nick Dale on the final tackle. Yeah, but now we're going to get offsetting because you got a hold, but then that was a tackle out of bounds. So this will offset, I would think, and probably, well, who knows? I mean, it's a spot foul where the hold is, which is back on the 15. But then there's going to be an unnecessary roughness call on the Dolphins on that late tackle. So we'll let the officials sort it out. You know what would be good while their officials sort it out?
Sorelli's?
Yeah, you got it. Sorelli's would be great to have while the officials are sorting this all out.
I'm a quick study. I'm picking up on this whole thing here.
You sure are. You sure are. So we'll see. Again, no score. 7:30 left here in the first half. Dolphins traveling today to Westinghouse. Westinghouse, a school not too far away from where Whitney Young is on the west side of Chicago. So official gives the signals as we had predicted. So Baba Nefasimi Opedele with some nice pressure drew the hold in the backfield to start with, but then some of the tackles out of bounds at the end ends up we'll have to see. Where is that ball?
We're going to be right back about where we started. They started with the spot foul and marched it backwards first. Then they stepped off the 15-yarder, and I think it's right about where we were. Should bring up fourth and about 12.
Yeah, and I would think it's
repeat third down.
Yes. Yep. Third down. Yep. Yeah, they had moved it to 4th down, but it's really a 3rd down play. So
Moved
Dolphins
moved back just a couple of yards, maybe a yard when that was all said and done and sorted out.
So Dolphins need to do the same thing. Again, bring some of that pressure through those gaps on Bully. There's Nick Dale getting away right away, and Baba Nefasimi trailing him, and eventually a nice tackle down here on the side. Hard for us to see who it was, but that was Joseph Clayton. So good pressure right off the snap from Nick Dale, number 77, who's putting in a lot of time on the D-line today. And so that's going to bring up 4th and long. Like we said, Westinghouse does not punt very much. They tend to fake it just about every other time that they actually punt. So we'll see.
They are going to line up in punt formation here.
We've got Quinn Duhan deep at the Westinghouse 45 back here if the punt actually heads in this direction. I think the rest of the Dolphin team is in sort of a regular defensive set. So you see Nick Dale or Alexander Dale. Kick is away, very, very short. Yep, that's it. You say poison, let's get the heck out of the way. That's what that means. And lands at about the 30-yard line.
Kick of about less than 10 yards.
Yeah, and that actually, which is why they do fake it a lot. So that was consistent with one of the things that hurt them against Taft was that when they were getting backed up, they had a hard time getting a lot of yardage on their punts. And that was into the wind, but it does give the Dolphins the ball back at the Westinghouse 30-yard line. Newman at quarterback, Clayton next to him. Anthony Hood motioning to the backfield, which brings Westinghouse up in a hurry. Handoff to Hood. Hood trying to find the edge, but couldn't quite get there. That seemed like something that Westinghouse had seen on film, that when Anthony, who is Anthony Hood, dynamic, explosive player, when he's in the backfield, they were expecting him to see that ball, and so they brought their corners who were in like a zone coverage, they brought them up to the line of scrimmage and made it a lot harder for Anthony to try to get to that edge. So now it looks like Hood, Clayton, and Dale all in the backfield. Hood looking to pass. That's going to be picked off. So 3rd pickoff of the game for Westinghouse.
That was the first time Hood has passed out of the Wildcat, and not a good result.
So too bad Sorelli's isn't sponsoring interceptions today, because you'd have 3 in the books already. Again, we've got kind of the same theme. I mean, we've spent most of the game in Westinghouse territory, so that's a good sign. I mean, we've been winning the field position battle and the time of possession battle, but 3 Dolphin turnovers here. So Bully in at quarterback, handoff up the middle. It dropped immediately. Baba Nefasimi Opadele got a couple shoelaces on that one and brought down the Westinghouse running back for a loss, I think. Looks like a loss of 2 or 3 on that play.
Whitney Young defense so far with 2 out by downs and 1 punt, and now got him behind the chains again.
So big for defensive backs to keep guys in front of you. Don't let anything get out of hand. Bully looking deep. He's got time. Nick Dale pursuing him. Now he gets outside. Now he's on the run. Joseph Clayton brings him down, but he's out across the 35-yard line to about the 37-yard line. So we talked about what he can do with his feet, although there is some laundry on the field. And I believe Nefasimi Opadele got held again. He wasn't moving. He knew what happened. Everybody else was moving up. He's like, hey, you all are coming back here because I got held at the 10-yard line.
Big penalty there on the scramble. Big pickup, but it's all coming back.
Yeah, and that's got to be tough. It's tough for offensive linemen when you have a shifty quarterback like Bully, where he's changing directions a lot. So you're engaged with a guy, and then all of a sudden that guy changes direction, and I think you're susceptible to grabbing some cloth on that because of that, and I'm guessing that's what happened. So that backs Westinghouse up. Bully in his end zone, 2nd down, and call it
23.
Yeah, call it 23. So Bully looking still alive, being pursued over there. I think pushed out of bounds by Quinn Duhan. Pushed out of bounds by Jim and Diane Brown's grandson, Quinn Duhan.
Great coverage from the backfield on that. He had a lot of time and
sure
could not find anybody. Really good coverage. Cornerbacks and safeties just had everybody covered.
So 3rd down, and we're saying it's 23. So defensive backs definitely giving some cushion here. So fine to complete a pass, but then get some tackles, see if that D-line can put some pressure on. So quick flip over here. Block in the back, not called, but tackle after about a 10-yard gain, maybe a little more than that. So tackle over here on the right-hand side.
Brings up a more makeable 4th down attempt if they want to try here on 4th, but absolutely a missed block in the back there.
Yeah. So with Dolphins rotating some guys in. Oh, actually, you know what? We were off on our call. I think they were off on the stick, so that brings up 4th down. That was a 3rd down play. So now we're at 4th down. Same sort of situation before. Quinn Duhan, you're at the 50. I think you could bring it up to about the 45 or the 40. And there's a line drive kick. I don't even know if it qualifies as a line drive. It was a ground ball kick.
A ground ball kick.
It was a ground ball between the shortstop and the second baseman. Ground ball with eyes, rolls out to the 38-yard line where the Dolphins will take over. Dolphins taking over, still 0-0. We're down to 3 minutes and 34 seconds left in the first half. Dolphins need to sustain a drive and get in the end zone. So 3 picks thrown, 2 by Newman, 1 by Hood. Noon back in the game at quarterback. He's got Duhan in motion. Run up the middle. Clayton picks up 2 or 3 before he's brought down. So the running game has worked for the Dolphins. The passing game has not so far. We'll see if we can get that untracked.
Westinghouse had 9 in the box there right now. I think they realized the same thing. Whitney Young running games had some success, and Westinghouse might be daring him to pass at this point.
So wide receivers in the game. Anthony Hood coming out here to the left. Alexander Dale at tight end. Joseph Gray and Quinn Duhan in the game. Alex in motion to the left. Newman with a handoff to Clayton. He cuts it off to his right. He's still on his feet. Ball fumbled. Fumbled, and we'll have to wait for the signal.
May have been fumbled out of bounds. Yep, referees signaling Whitney Young ball.
All right. So that was fortuitous. So fumbled by Clayton after a nice gainer off to the right-hand side. Fumbled out of bounds, so it remains Whitney Young ball and a 1st down pickup at the 25-yard line. It's tough. Usually we have a little more elevation. It's hard to see some things over the top of everything here, but 1st down for the Dolphins. 1st and 10 at the 25. Newman in the pistol with Clayton behind him. Dale motion to the right. Hand off to Clayton. Clayton on his feet. Clayton dragging the Warrior defense to another 1st down. I think Coach Finger And Coach Boucher might be sick of seeing interceptions and much more comfortable with the ball in Joseph Clayton's hands right now. So a first down, what do we call it, about the 12-yard line. So first down possibility at about the 2-yard line for the Dolphins. Now some other strange things are happening because they're marching the other way. So I don't know, is there a flag on that play?
I did not see that at all. I don't know what happened.
So let's see if we can get a motion for the
illegal hands to the face. I think the white hat is signaling.
So the chain gang is still over here. So I think, so that was a first down play. So I think it's still going to be first down. Chain gang is still hanging out. They thought everything worked out fine. So anyway, we'll just roll with where it is. Ball is at the 29-yard line.
Referees are still discussing this. I'm not sure we know exactly what's going to happen here yet.
I know exactly that we don't know what's going to happen yet. That is one thing I could predict with 100% accuracy. I have no idea what's going to happen. So a game fraught with some penalties, without a doubt, fraught with penalties and turnovers on the Dolphins side of the ball. Still 0-0, 2:27 left in the first half. Felicia, you still doing okay over there? All right. Felicia Spivak on the camera. We got Coach O.D. over our shoulder, where there's not an official press box here. So we've got the coaches hanging out next to us. We've got, I'm not sure where the Westinghouse coaches are, but it's Coach O.D., head coach of the JV team, assistant here on the varsity level. So this is going to bring up, if we trust the sticks, it's bringing up second down. Newman at quarterback, Clayton behind him. Wide receivers on this side, definitely Quinn Duhan. I think that's Joseph Gray as well. Duhan in motion, high snap, inside handoff, nice tackle by the interior of the Westinghouse line. Might have been one of those blitzing inside linebackers. Got a hold of Joseph Clayton. There was some room out there. It's a little misdirection that they tried to play on that with Duhan in motion to the left and a quick handoff to Clayton off on the right-hand side. So brings up third down. Hood checks back in at quarterback. So Hood at quarterback, Clayton at running back. As you said, yeah, definitely Westinghouse stacking the box there. Hood picked up about 5 on that play. 1:31 left in the first half. So fourth down. Newman going to come back in. So we've mentioned Brandon Bardsma out as the kicker and punter. A little deep for Solomon Bradley's range right now at this stage of his career. I'm sure when he's a senior, he'll be punching these through like nothing. But so fourth down and 5. Westinghouse looking to blitz. They're bringing it. Newman hits Hood. Close to
right
a
at
first
the
down.
stick.
So didn't pick up the 5 yards. It was right there. It was a nice pitch and catch from Newman to Hood, but just a yard short of the first down. So Westinghouse will take over on downs deep in their territory. So good look, just not quite enough. And you know, in those situations, I mean, Westinghouse probably brought 7 guys on that, so Newman good to get the ball away. Hood, great catch as usual. Couldn't quite fight for that first down. So that brings Bully back on, and now Dolphins defense, I've said it a few times, D-backs, I mean, now the wind is in his face, but defensive backs definitely do not let anybody get behind you right now. Bully flips it over here, quick pass, nice pursuit defensively.
Rushing to the line here.
Joseph Gray on the tackle. So Westinghouse stays in tempo. Bully now over to his right. Pass completed and was able to elude Alexander Dale initially with Anthony Hood then coming in to make the tackle.
Timeout here for Westinghouse.
Yep, so Westinghouse takes their first time out of the half. With 28 seconds left. So that was a first down play for them. They get it out to the 38-yard line. Doug, how are you holding up? You know, it's your first half as a color commentator. Is it everything you dreamed about?
Yeah, it's been a good experience. So I don't know if I'm how much I'm adding to the experience here, but you know, it's been an interesting game, and that's half the battle here. Great defense by Whitney Young, really on both sides of the ball so far here today has been the entire story of the first half.
So you're a positive spin guy, kind of guy, because I mean I'll take that. I'll take that as an interesting game. I mean it is 0-0, but some good plays. Dolphin rushing game getting going a little bit. And yes, now just corral Askaya Bully, the dynamic quarterback for Westinghouse, and try to get into the locker room at halftime at 0-0 would be what we would want at this point. So Bully looked deep. Now he's looking deep. Now he's got a receiver. Got a receiver, Anthony Hood, on the tackle, but that takes it all the way up to the 36-yard line. Westinghouse probably could have just used a timeout there, but they're going to clock it. So Bully got up there and stopped the clock with 11 seconds left.
Really odd that they didn't call the timeout there. They've got 2 timeouts left, and probably could have saved themselves 8 or 9 seconds, which is basically a play at this point.
Yep, so Dolphins on their heels a little bit here. Bully, you're going to call that? I guess not, right in front of the official. So completed pass out of bounds. So Barry Gordon just got mugged on that play. Had a lane to the quarterback and just got dragged down from behind right in front of the referee, but nothing called. And as we said last week, the referees are always correct. So I guess it was not a penalty. 2 seconds left. So Bully going to be looking to the end zone here. He's got trips to his right.
Timeout here, Whitney Young.
Yep. Coach Dan Finger says, let's make sure that we have our alignments correct on all of these things. Gets his defense over on the side. Malik Leonard going to talk to these guys about knowing your assignments right now. Bully will definitely keep this play alive as long as possible, which puts a lot of stress on the defense. So you got to think about him throwing it, but it's well within his capabilities to run one in from 25 yards out as well.
We would take a 25-yard run here since it's on the 26.
All right, thank you very much.
Be okay.
Well done.
Anything less than that. Let's get to halftime.
Yep, this is so Dolphins are going to line up 3 defensive backs deep at the end zone line. I think that's Quinn Duhan, Anthony Hood in the middle, Maxwell Warner closest to us on the left-hand side of the field. Bully gets the snap. He throws it deep in the end zone. Picked off by Maxwell Warner. Maxwell Warner coming up the left-hand side and ends the first half with a turnover. And so we end the first half tied 0-0. Maxwell Warner taking care of that interception. And there we go, everybody. We've got a scoreless game at half. I think Felicia's now taking requests from people who want to get on air. All right, so halftime
What's the script at halftime?
Oh, yeah, I got this all covered. Don't you worry. So, first of all, we're going to take a trip around Whitney Young Sports. So, you ready for the ride?
Yeah, I want to know more about any of the programs at Whitney Young.
All right, we're going to start with the Golf and Dolphins, the women's golf team. We talked about them last week. They won the city championships. So then they went on to both sectionals and regionals. We had, I think, 3 people. We advanced as a team to the regionals, and we had 4 of the 5 top individuals advancing. We did not advance as a team to state, but Mylin Hoshino did advance, and she was 5th. I think she was 5th after the first day of golf yesterday, won over par 73. And so the second round she's out there right now. And she's been solid all year, city champion at golf, and so looking for a state title today. Boys golf, Henry Ryland, who is also the city champ. So we had both boys and girls city champs in golf. Henry Ryland went on to finish 3rd in regionals and advanced 2 sectionals, but didn't advance to state. So boys golf done for the year, but a solid year, 3rd place finish in the city with Henry Ryland winning that title.
Kudos to the state of Illinois for having girls golf in the fall. Many states have girls golf in the spring when the weather is miserable.
And you have first-hand experience for that. You had quite a few. Anna Newman, watching us tuning in from Denver right now, was on the golf team at Wash last year in Iowa.
As was Grace Newman, who might also be tuning in from Ames, Iowa. They both played spring girls golf and didn't have many days like today to play golf in.
So if you had both Grace and Anna Newman on your announcer bingo card, you can mark those off. Let's talk about Whitney Young soccer. So Whitney Young soccer, 10-3-3 on the year, advanced to the city quarterfinals where they face our big-time rival Lane Tech tonight at 7 o'clock under the lights at Lane. I've got my main man Jason Hockman, Dolphin sports correspondent, sent me in a quick text message on some highlights, so let me read that. Whitney Young soccer remained in the top 25, falling 2 spots to 23 after their tie with Taft. Young soccer started Chicago Public League playoffs this week with a new format, single elimination 32-team tournament. Scoring goals has been a weakness for Young all season as they combined for 22 goals in 14 games. Again, great defense, clearly, because they were 10-3-3, but only on 22 games. They changed that this week as they scored 11 times in 2 games. Young knocked off Kennedy on Monday 6-1 and Amundsen on Wednesday 5-1 to reach the Elite 8. Getting on the goal barrage this week was Sasha Frias-Kaler with 3 goals, Cesar Lopez with 2, Simon Skoden with 2, and Cole Hockman, Reish Krushke, Diego Delgado, Nico Bapat with 1 apiece. Again, as I mentioned, Young takes on Lane tonight at 7 o'clock for berth in the Final Four on the line. Leading scorer for the Dolphins on the season with 7 is Cole Hockman, and leading Young in assists is talented freshman MJ Hicks with 6 assists. I mentioned the JV football program and Coach OD. Team is 4-2, lost this week to a very tough Clark team. We'll have to see if they have any more games. Kind of a end of the regular season for them, but possible that they get a couple more, or at least one more game scheduled. Coach OD mentioned to me Lorenzo Rivas had what he said was the best run of the year on JV. Elusive, trucked a few guys, gave them a big run late in that game. Aaron Champion was then across for the touchdown. I think Aaron's had a handful of touchdowns, probably 4 or 5 touchdowns already this year. Von Conrad completed the 2-point conversion. Coach also mentioned Ray-Teng Scottmere with a nice catch where he was able to get that down on that key drive at the end. So again, JV football, nice year for them, finishing 4-2 with maybe some extra games on tap. Girls flag football also in the CPL playoffs this week. Unfortunately lost to Kenwood 14-12. What I heard from all the varsity boys players was that they were at that game and they said Kenwood had a player that was a lot like Marshawn Lynch, and they would have been afraid to get in front of her. So that ends the first season, solid record. I believe the Lady Dolphins in flag football finished 10-3. And, of course, they'll be returning superstar quarterback Sonali Angus for next year, so we'll look for more from them as they progress. Volleyball lost a match last night to Oak Park River Forest, but still within conference play, undefeated on the varsity side. JV is 7-1, freshman 5-0, so just rolling on the volleyball side of things. Jordan Rogers leading in kills for that team. CPS playoffs start later this coming week, so tune in for that. A few other notes. Sorry if I cough in your ear on that, but hoops starting soon, and we all know Whitney Young, dominant in basketball, city champions last year, second place in state. So Whitney Young sophomore guard Antonio Munoz won MVP at the Prep Hoops Illinois Top 250 camp recently, and I know Antonio was also down at Illinois making a visit there. He's definitely a guy that's getting a lot of looks already at that D1 college level. Speaking of commits, Maya Martinez on the softball team just committed to the University of Chicago, so she'll be playing softball there. And then big news on the sorry, not really news yet, but both Dalen Davis and Skylar Jones. So Dalen Davis on the boys side of basketball, Skylar Jones on the girls side of basketball. I think they might be making their announcement on where they're going to college this coming week. So Dalen has narrowed his choices down to Princeton and Tulane, and Skylar is looking at Syracuse, Missouri, Mississippi State, Illinois, and Rutgers in her final 5. So we'll see where both of them, who they'll have their senior years to play here at Whitney Young, but they'll be committing to their D1 scholarship offer this coming week. And then also we talk about Whitney Young. Whitney Young named this week by Niche Publication as a top 10 public school in the nation. So all those kids that we just talked about as far as what they do on the playing field, they're also doing it in the classroom to a top 10 school in the nation. So our kudos to all of them. Our kudos to Principal Ricky Harris and all of the teachers, administrators at Whitney Young. I'm going to take a quick break here for some Gatorade, and then I'll move on to some Chicagoland playoffs.
It's a good overall report from for Whitney Young sports fans. A lot of news, and good to get caught up on all of that.
All right, let's talk about Chicago football. A few highlights here. So, headliner game going to be starting fairly soon here at 4 o'clock, and that's going to be Simeon versus Kenwood. So not a lot of times during this time of the year that a Chicago Public League game can dominate the headlines, but Simeon with Malik Elzy, Player of the Year candidate, going up against Kenwood. So Simeon is top ranking both in their classification. I think they're a 5A. As well as overall in the Chicagoland area, they're a top 10 team. They're going against Kenwood. Kenwood, of course, loaded up with D1 talent. Khalil Tate, who's going to Iowa. Logan Lester going to Western Michigan. They've also got Marquise Lightfoot and Kavion Thunderbird, who are going to be have a ton of offers and are going to be somewhere soon. So that game going on later on today. The other game on our side of the conference, Taft versus Clark at 7 o'clock tonight at Lane. Speaking of Lane Tech, yesterday they took on Phillips. Phillips, who we lost to last week, and Phillips, who's been the sort of the class in this conference. Both teams came in at 3-0, but Phillips took care of business, beating Lane 38-7. So Phillips clinches a share of the Red North title with that win. Ryan McDonald, A.J. Robinson of Phillips both committed to Northern Illinois this week. So if you watched that game last week, know that there was a bunch of D1 talent, some action talent that was out on that field that we were facing, and they took it to Lane. Lane has again came in undefeated. They're getting a lot of press. It's a good program. They've been running the ball with that double wing. Now is the time of the year might be challenged a little bit more. So Lane has Westinghouse next week, and then they have Simeon after that, and then they'll move into the Chicago Public League and state playoffs. So our best wishes to Lane as they move forward. Some other scores: Morgan Park with a big win over Brooks, 52-0. So that's on the red south side of the conference. And then speaking of some of our other opponents, Hope Academy, who we played in the first game of the year, they keep rolling. Huge win over Christ the King last night, 57-0, after their win over DePaul Prep last week. So they're up to number 3 in the state in the 1A rankings. A good article on them in the Chicago Sun-Times. Again, Coach Chris Millett there, who had previously been the head coach at Whitney Young. Judah Millett, his son, has an offer from Iowa. I saw that he posted on Twitter that he's heading to Champaign today. So Brent Bielema trying to get in on some of Kirk Ferentz's action on Judah Millett. Some other quick scores: Mount Carmel continues to roll. The Caravan, number 1 ranked team in the state and in the city, they with a 42-0 win over St. Lawrence. Loyola, a little closer, but Loyola, number 2 team, 34-22 over Providence. Big game in the south suburbs, Lockport against Bolingbrook. So Lockport is defending 8A champs. They had just got knocked off a week or two ago by Sandburg. Bolingbrook's got a lot of press. I mean, they're a number 10 ranked team. So Lockport wins 30. So that's got Bolingbrook reeling a little bit. Bolingbrook coached by John Ivelo. Do you know that name?
It sounds familiar, but I can't come up with it for you.
He lived in the same dorm we did. You were a sophomore, I was a freshman at Northwestern University. Allison Hall, John Ivelo was a running back on the Wildcats team and lived in Allison Hall as well. So we got a bunch of our friends up watching that Northwestern Wisconsin game right now. We're actually going to touch on that in a couple of our notes coming in soon. Actually, my next note right here. Actually, before I move on that, Jonas Williams is the dynamic quarterback at Bolingbrook. He's now the number 1 ranked quarterback in the country as a freshman right now from Bolingbrook. Nazareth took down Leo 42-6. My note there was just that Justin Turner, who's a top recruit in the state and had committed to Wisconsin, reaffirmed that he's still going to Wisconsin. So that big coaching change there last Sunday, and it's tough when at the college level when you do the change. Now, is Jim Leonard coming in right now, the defensive coordinator, getting that head coaching spot in Wisconsin? So maybe there's some continuity with the recruiting class coming in, and they'll still roll, but it's just an interim job. So not sure if Jim Leonard will be there next year, and it definitely not something that any of these recruits necessarily wanted to see.
Of course, with the transfer portal and the new rules in college football, every position on the football field is an interim job.
Well, there you go. You're right about that. A few other scores. Number 3 Lincoln Way keeps rolling. They were with a 52-14 win over Homewood Flossmoor. And York won again. So York is really putting it together on the football field. Do you know where York fits into our history?
No.
Okay. I should have prepped you a little bit more. So Joe Newton was the longtime track and cross-country coach at York. And so all those workouts that we did in high school, those 22-20s and those 36 whatever they were, that our coach John Tenges gave us, that was all out of Joe Newton's book, The Green Line. So York is just a dominant in all running sports, but also putting it together on the football field this year.
I actually knew that York had a really solid running reputation, and if that had been the question, I might have gotten it right. I had a hard time tying that back to us.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah. Well, so the fact that we ran slowly around an oval, maybe that doesn't give us enough there. Let me switch over. Catholic League, big game last night. Brother Rice against Joliet Catholic went to 2 overtimes. Some great highlights on that. Amazing catch by the Brother Rice receiver at the end for the win. So Brother Rice 31, Joliet Catholic 24. Joliet Catholic led on the offensive line by Anthony Biersa, who's going to Northwestern. If you've got the under-over on Northwestern references, after it was announced that Doug was going to be my live stream question, actually got taken off the board in Vegas as a prop bet because they're like, this is all these guys. These guys don't really know anything else. They're just going to be constantly referencing Northwestern.
We've been pretty good so far, actually, about trying to stay tuned into this game. It helps that the game is tied. If this thing becomes 35-0, I bet we'll get into some cat stories.
Yeah, well, as long as 35-0 Dolphins, then we can then we'll be ready to talk. If it's 35-0 the other way, I don't even know if I'll be able to speak. A few other scores: DePaul Prep over Notre Dame, Fenwick 36, St. Pat's 27. St. Ignatius over St. Viator, so Wolfpack rolled to a 50-20 win. A few notes there. Vinny Rugai, who we've talked about, have been on these broadcasts in the past. Dynamic player, set the St. Ignatius single season and career rushing records last night. I think the other thing to note there, as far as I'm blanking, who's the I gotta think of it. I'll come back to that. The D tackle at St. Ignatius visited Ohio State last week. Justin Turner. No, I'm not getting the name right. I'm gonna have to check that one out. I don't know why I can't think of his name right now. This happens when you talk for a long time. You know what I always do in that? Boom goes the dynamite. St. Rita over Marion Central as well. Looks like we're getting close to a second half kickoff. The one thing I did want to mention is Player of the Year starting to creep up here toward the end of the season. So not that the short list right now: Elsie from Simeon, Blaney Dowling from Mount Carmel, Marquise Lightfoot, who we mentioned, from Kenwood, Brad Vernizio, and Jake Sterney from Loyola are all the guys that are getting the stats that they're putting up and looking at. I was going to go through the entire list of Players of the Year. That was going to include Dick Butkus, Mike Allstott, Rocky Harvey, names like that. But anyway, we're going to get underway here in the third quarter. I believe the horn is stuck right now on the scoreboard. Or maybe it's just a really long one. Anyway, they signal it. So the Dolphins had deferred the opening kick, so they will receive in the second half. As Coach Finger mentioned on the open, the hands team is on the field for the Dolphins as they're expecting an onside kick. Brandon Dockett is deep if they happen to whistle it that way, but you see the at the 40-yard line, Anthony Hood is over on the right-hand side, and Maxwell Warner, who came up with that interception to end the first half, is over here on the left.
And in a 0-0 game, this is the first time that we've seen the Westinghouse kickoff team. So you talked about it in the pregame, but this is the first time we're going to get a chance to see if they go onside here and just what Whitney Young does with the hands team on the field.
Yeah, I hope it's the last time we see him.
That would bode well. The defense, that's been the story of this game really a couple different ways. Westinghouse has got 3 picks to lead their defensive effort. Whitney Young has stopped them on downs and forced a couple of punts. So they've gotten it done different ways, but the defense has been the story so far today.
All right, so looks like we're going to get underway. Ball set at the 40. There's the line drive that Max picks up. Probably could have taken a little bit. Joseph Clayton gave him a little tap on the head, so that's all right. You were following directions, I believe.
That was well coached all week long.
Yep. As a freshman, Maxwell Warner said, Coach Finger said, if I catch the ball, I am going down immediately. Don't be a hero. So the Dolphins take over at their 42-yard line. Newman at quarterback. Hood split to his left. Joseph Clayton in the backfield next to him. Westinghouse creeping up. Hood comes into the backfield. Handoff to Hood. Hood brought down almost immediately. Good hit there by defensive lineman of Westinghouse. Took out Hood after a short gain, maybe a gain of 1. I can hear Coach O.D. just saying every time we motion him in, they're blitzing that backside linebacker. I don't know. You know what that means?
It means Westinghouse has begun to expect the run.
I think you're right. So 2nd and 9. Blitz coming up the middle. Handoff to Clayton. Clayton with a decent gain. Across the 45 to about the 47 or 48 yard line. So it brings up a 3rd and short. So Whitney Young trying to get some offensive continuity going here. 3rd and short. Clayton comes off to Newman's right. Snap to Newman, back to pass. Oh, almost was picked off, but out of the hands of Joseph Gray. So Newman, I think, took a whack on the backside there, and that's going to bring up 4th down. I have to see what Coach Finger and Coach Boucher want to do here. They're sending Newman back in. They got the wind behind him. They were not able to convert at the end of the second half on 4th down where Newman hit Hood, but they didn't quite get to the sticks. This is maybe a little shorter than that play. Maybe they can hook up on this one. Aha. So Newman, I think, was trying to get the hard count going, but what he did is he got Jason Perez to jump on the hard count, and Jason spun around and was not happy with himself right off of that. So now the punt team comes out. Punt team comes out. Alex Dale, punt position. Ben Barrett, long snapper. Delivers an on target. High kick. Bounces out of bounds at about the 38-yard line. So main order of business with Alex Dale in the game at punter is usually to just make sure that we get it off. So Alex does a good job of that. Ben did a good job of getting the snap to him. So didn't significantly flip the field, but at least it's in Dolphin territory for the Westinghouse Warriors to take over for their first possession. 10:42 left here in the second half. So defensive alignment for the Dolphins. Nick Dale, Baba Nefasimi Opadele up front with Jacob Mraz and Barry Gordon at the D-end positions. They did a nice job in the first half. There is a quarterback keeper, and he's gone through about 4 or 5 guys. He's getting to the edge and then ushered out of bounds across the 40-yard line by Tyson Hayes. So that was a really nice job that was an option there where Bully pulled it down the right side of the Dolphin D line, over pursued, and he was able to hit that crease and head upfield. I think we're going to see a lot more of that in the second half.
25-yard run there.
Bully back to pass. He's launching it deep. Picked off and dropped, but good coverage. Good coverage there. That was Maxwell Warner again on the backside. So Max did a really nice job. Got his head back around to see that pass. And I think he brought it in, but the wide receiver did a nice job of playing defensive back and kind of hacked it out of his hands.
Yeah, that was not a drop. He made a nice play on the ball, yep, but definitely got it knocked out.
So there's a handoff up the middle, and Joseph Clayton in on the tackle, and there's
flag down.
Flag on the field, a holding against Westinghouse. Officials are not afraid to throw the flag today. So Coach Finger, a little decision here for you. It would be 3rd down, but definitely, again, in high school with a spot foul. So they're just going to start walking that off from the 40-yard line. So I think that'll take it all the way back to the 50-yard line. So they'll bring up a 2nd down, and I don't know, every time we're in the second and long, we call it a 2nd and 23. Looks like a 2nd and 23.
It actually is a 2nd and 23.
Right.
I believe that's correct.
Bully back to pass. Gets it out in the middle. Alexander Dale on the tackle. So they pick up about 5 on that. So again, Westinghouse fans said, we really don't want to hear the Newman brothers talk a whole lot. So they're going tempo and maximizing their number of plays on the field. So 3rd down and 17. Bully again flips it out His receiver on this side completes it, but short of the first down. It'll bring up 4th down.
Back judge coming in, I think, and calling it. No, yep, I think the back judge might have called it incomplete.
Okay.
Coming back.
So I think it was a good call, and the referees are always correct, so it was a correct call.
By the second official, because the first one had it marked as complete.
So 4th down, and looks like they're going to go for this. So they are in Dolphins territory. Makes sense. They're into the wind as well. So 4th down and 14. Bully back to pass. Good rush. Got a receiver open. I think he's going to be short of the first down. So Bully's doing a nice job, man. He's got a good arm. He did complete that, but short of the first down marker. So the Dolphins will take over at the Westinghouse 30-yard line.
Bully definitely looking good. The 25-yard run to start that drive was really the first time he got loose all day. In the first half, he had a long run called back by penalty, but you could definitely see the talent on that side of the ball. Let's see if Whitney Young offense can get something going here.
So Newman at quarterback. Handoff to Clayton. Clayton picking his way out close to a first down. So they've got some things going on the inside of that offensive line. Again, MJ Woods, freshman who's played left tackle all year. As I was just about to say, like, we finally had a play that didn't have a penalty, but there was a penalty on the play. I wonder if it might have been a face mask call. I'm going to call a face mask, which when it's an inadvertent face mask in high school football, it's a 5-yard penalty.
Ah, okay. I learned something.
So Clayton with the run and then 5 yards tacked on. The sticks are entirely wrong, but I believe it's well, maybe it is. Maybe it's a second and a yard. And Westinghouse jumped off sides.
That may actually be on Whitney Young there. I think, yep, the right tackle.
Okay.
Right tackle jumped, causing Westinghouse to jump.
Yeah, so Westinghouse always rolls those guys up there. I did say to Bennett, I thought you could get a bunch of offsides penalties on Westinghouse just because of the way they walk those inside linebackers up and kind of like run those inside linebackers up. But yeah, again, a pre-snap penalty. We're approaching double digits on those for the day collectively between these two teams. So, Doug, you keep positively spinning this as an interesting game. Interesting is a word that can be used to describe it. So, Newman at quarterback. First down. Inside handoff to Clayton. Not a lot going on there. So I think he's tackled maybe for a loss.
About a yard loss there. Again, because of that face mask on the original first down, we were still at first down. So, second down here coming up.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure I understand how the yardage markers worked on all of that, but I won't worry about it. We're just going to call it the way we see it with the sticks right now, which appears to be about a 2nd down and 8. 2nd and 8. I think Hood checks in at quarterback, so Hood and Clayton in the backfield. Duhan in the slot. Hood taking the direct snap, grinding his way for a few yards more across the 35-yard line. So that brings up 3rd down. 3rd and about 5. We'll have to see. It looks like Newman is going to come back on. So Dockett checks out. Newman checks in. He'll have Alexander Dale, Anthony Hood, Duhan, and Joseph Gray as his receivers. Let's see with the wind behind our backs if I think the Dolphins at some point, if they can get some time, that's the biggest challenge. So they jump off sides. Newman was able to get the jump there. Finally made sure his Dolphin offensive line stayed anchored.
Indeed.
I actually talked to him about it, and I'm like, you guys should go on 2 more often. He's like, yeah, but our guys are just so fired up, they can't even wait. I said, what would happen if you tried to go on 3? I said, I think everybody's head would explode.
That did get him the first down there, so that was critical play. Try to keep this drive moving.
Usually we give an ode to Aaron Rodgers because Aaron Rodgers and the Green Bay Packers are on the bingo card. So, Jack, if you're hovering somewhere over the Pacific Ocean and you've got that on your bingo card, and that dessert cart is coming around, check it off and ask for a tawny port to finish out your ride back into the U.S. Newman gets the snap, handoff to Clayton. Clayton picks up about 3 on that first down run. Some of this, too, is just about getting some momentum going. Those running plays have been able to click off some positive yards. So 42-yard line, 6:48 left here in the third quarter. Newman gets the play from the sideline. Again, it's sort of the cat and mouse game for the Westinghouse and Whitney Young coaches right now, as Westinghouse is definitely showing a lot of pressure looks. The Dolphins haven't been able to take advantage of it. Like when they've thrown deep, that's when some of the interceptions have happened. So there's an inside handoff to Clayton. Clayton gets a few, so probably 2 more, gets it out to the 45-yard line.
Little different look for Westinghouse on that one. They only had 4, and they dropped the linebackers back a little bit. Still, though, with a Whitney Young run there.
So it brings up 3rd and 6. 3rd and 6. Hood, the receiver, wide to the right. He's got defender is about 7 yards off of him. Duhan motions to the left. Newman looks to the left. Newman going deep to Hood. He's got him wide open. Hood corrals it. Hood to the house.
Nice. Barry, you called it there. You said with the wind at their back, you wondered if they were setting up a longer pass, and there it was.
Hood had his man beat by about 15 yards. It was almost like it was moving in slow motion for me. Newman was under duress, but was able to get that pass off, and Hood, wide open, takes it in for the touchdown, putting Whitney Young up 6-0. Solomon Bradley on for the extra point. Ben Barrett. Long snapper, hold is down. Kick is line shot.
He made it
through the uprights.
Finally, something to root for the Dolphin fans that came looking for offense today. That was a big, big play, and in a game that's gone the way that this one did, striking first here finally in the third quarter is a big, big play for the Dolphins.
All right, so 7-0 lead, 5:05 left here in the third quarter.
I was watching quarterback play mostly on that. Newman definitely took a hit from the left end. Again, reviewing that touchdown play. I wish we had eyes on what Hood did there, because he shook loose and was just wide open. I don't know if he had a double move or if he just ran right past his guy, but big, big play to finally break this open and get us off the schneid.
Get us off the schneid.
Was schneid on the bingo card?
Schneid was not, but Jack added, getting off the schneid. Everybody likes to get off the schneid. So Alexander Dale out for the kickoff. Again, tough to get the numbers on the Westinghouse uniform, so I apologize. I would just be guessing on who is deep for them. I do love the pink socks they've got out for breast cancer awareness. So deep kickoff to the left-hand side, fielded at the 10-yard line. Great coverage down there for a pod of Dolphins. Barry Gordon wrestling down along with Joseph Clayton. Pot of Dolphins is on the bingo card, by the way. So good to see some solid kick coverage. So Solomon Bradley, who was out there kicking the extra point, was also on the coverage for that kick. So looks like Westinghouse will take over from inside their 20. Again, good work by the defensive line. You know, we talked about some of the guys that are missing off of there today: Rico D'Alessandro, Juan Cepeda, and Harrison. But good job by the defenders. Quick pass out to the outside. Joseph Clayton out there on the tackle, along with Joseph Gray, I believe, and Quinn Duhan. So that pass has been there for them. And again, by design, you know, Dolphins knowing that Bully can throw it deep, given the wide receivers a quarterback. Let's see if they're happy to take that down. Alexander Dale was in on the tackle, but the running back spun away from him. I think that'll give Westinghouse a first down across the 30. 4:26 left here in the third quarter. Bully at quarterback for Westinghouse. Snap goes off of him, goes down, but this is where Bully can really be dangerous. But great pursuit. Great pursuit by the Dolphin defense. Trying to see who ended up in there. I think that might have been Joseph Clayton. But yeah, good bounce right back up to him. But I was actually a little worried because what happens there is you over pursue on the defensive line and then Bully gets a lot of space. But they ended up corralling him for a 1-yard loss. Handoff up the middle. That was maybe Jacob Miraz on the tackle on that side. Hard to get a number. Sorry, I keep apologizing for that if I'm getting it wrong. But good job on the right side of the defensive line for the Whitney Young Dolphins and holding up on that attack. So Bully now with a 3rd down and 7. He's back to pass, flips it over on the side. Nice job of pursuit. So that was probably Joseph Gray. Duhan. Yep, Joseph Gray definitely on the initial hit, and Duhan on the tackle. So that brings up 4th down.
Both teams continue to treat that play exactly alike. As you said, that pass is open. Westinghouse keeps doing that, and Whitney continues to pursue to the ball. I feel like we've seen that exact play on both sides of the ball 4 or 5 times now.
So this is where I would definitely be looking out for the fake punt, because it's a 4th down and call it a short 4, long 3. Duhan back deep, but watch for this, a direct snap up the middle. Great pursuit by the Dolphin defense.
Dolphin stopped. Nice.
So
that's where your scouting comes in. You called that in the pregame. We've talked several times about that. I think they were absolutely expecting that right there.
Yep, so the Dolphins still had their regular defense on the field. We'll have to watch the replay to see who brought them down, but everybody was staying home, keeping their assignments, and puts the Dolphin offense back on the field in Westinghouse territory at about the 37-yard line. Newman at quarterback. Handoff. Joseph Clayton, and brought down, but after he picks up a 1st down, close to the 25-yard line. So Joseph Clayton doing a really nice job. Great vision today, keeping his feet alive. Some of the stuff where it's just been tough against some of the defenses we've played against with monster fronts to really get some movement going. But Joseph's showing you what he can do as a running back today, and it's been a big difference by being able to move the chains on some runs as well. So Newman at QB flips it out to Clayton. Going to get probably a hold on the right side of the Dolphin offensive line, or maybe from one of the wide receivers trying to take care of a block on that side. because that came out almost immediately. So it was a quick flip from Newman to Clayton, but a hold on the play. Clayton going to get a breather here, but it'll back the ball up to the 37-yard line, so that'll be about a 2nd and 10, I think. So I think we have Maxwell Warner checking in at running back. With the handoff. Warner with a nice gainer.
Gets most of that penalty yardage back. Sets up a little bit more manageable 3rd down here.
So 2nd and 11. An offensive line getting some push in that run game. 7-0 here. 52 seconds left in the 3rd quarter. Hood wide to the right. Joseph Gray to the right. Flip over to Maxwell Warner. Another nice gainer. We'll have to see. What do you call that, a pass or a run? I think actually Newman's flipping it forward on that.
Yeah, pretty close. Scorekeeper discretion on that, I think.
Yeah. So going now, the Dolphins going tempo, trying to get Whitney Young or with Westinghouse with too many men on the field, also trying to hard count him. So now after they're at the line, now the play gets signaled in. And they're just going to run it to the end of the 3rd quarter. So end of the 3rd quarter.
Big breakthrough for Whitney Young there. Only 2 passes thrown that quarter by Whitney Young, but one was a big one.
Yeah, so what was the yardage on that touchdown catch?
It was more than 50. I think it was 55-yard. I didn't have it exactly, but about a 55-yard pass. And remember, too, as they tried it again there at the end of the quarter, that another big play on that drive was the 3rd down conversion on the offsides play as well there. It was right after that they struck on the big Newman to Hood touchdown pass. That's the only score of the game so far.
All right, so we move to the 4th quarter. We got a good dance squad here from Westinghouse. Again, it's their homecoming. Good turnout of Westinghouse parents and students, as well as Whitney Young folks here watching a good game. I feel like, has the wind died down a little bit? Felicia says the wind has died down. I feel it's pretty darn nice right now. It definitely is a football day. Leaves starting to turn a little bit here. Fun weekend for football all around. So Dolphins 3rd down, trying to work their way back out from a penalty. Hood on at quarterback. Hood takes the direct snap, trying to stay alive, gets around the corner. I don't think he's going to have enough for a 1st down. Not enough for a 1st down, but it'll give them a short yardage situation. Yep. I do think we have somebody down on that side of the field. I think it's it is a Whitney Young player. I think it might actually be Hood. I don't know what happened at the end of that run, but we'll see. It looks like he's getting up here shortly.
Gives the Dolphins just a minute to think about this, what I think is a 4th down play, is it not?
Yeah, it is a fourth and short. So that was a run off to the left-hand side there with Hood.
Chain Gang has the 3rd down marker up, but I do believe this is 4th. Hood going to take the long way around here.
Long way around. Maybe you just got to try to walk something off. So he'll need to come out for this play regardless, but hopefully he's okay. So you've got Joseph Gray, a wide receiver, Brandon Dockett, Quinn Duhan, Alexander Dale, Joseph Clayton at running back. Boucher and Finger still talking to Newman over here on the side, giving him the play. So you take out your number one playmaker, but still plenty of guys out there that can get the job done. Maybe a little Newman to Duhan or Newman to Alex Dale play here.
Need your best 2-yard play in the playbook right here. This would be big.
Yeah, and the run game has done it, so maybe it's Newman going to go under center. Newman going under center. Clayton as the running back. Duhan in motion. Hand off to Clayton. Clayton to the end zone.
Dolphins touchdown.
Nice job. Dolphins do not run under center very often. That offensive line getting the job done. And Joseph Clayton put in the end zone. Great job. Puts the Dolphins up by 2 scores. There's the hold. Bradley not going to be good on that one. But still 13-0 here. 11:25 left in the fourth quarter. Big time job by the Dolphin defense, first of all. Stopping the fake punt by Westinghouse, giving the Dolphins the ball in positive territory. And then the run game took over from there. Joseph Clayton.
A lot of Clayton on that drive, really this entire second half again. If our statistician has this right, again, I think we're only on 2 passes for the second half. They've just decided to run the ball, and it's been effective.
Are we paying our statistician enough?
Wage rates are really headed up in just about every industry right now, I imagine in this one as well.
Doug Newman, head of the Economic Development Group in Cedar Rapids, Iowa. I was going to put that on the bingo card. I think anything public policy related, TIF rate, TIF zones. There's a kickoff straight up in the air, out of bounds.
It's the exact same thing that happened on the opening kickoff of the game, almost the exact same spot, and really again doesn't hurt the Dolphins a lot here from where that ball went out of bounds. They'll get another 5 yards on top of that and turn it over to the defense.
Yep, that's right. And yeah, some of the too is Dale is not the kickoff specialist, and so just trying to put it in a spot where you've got 2 outcomes. One, either at 3 outcomes. One, it goes out of bounds, and you, like you said, minimal damage to it. 2, you get it to an up back who you corral quickly for a tackle, or the up back doesn't know what to do with it, and you grab it. So sort of like a modified, safe onside type of kick. So the Warriors take over. As you said, they'll march off 5 yards. So they'll take over at the 41-yard line.
Scoreboard temporarily out, but this is where Dolphins are starting to smell victory here and watching the clock a little bit. Need to try to grind this out.
Yeah, I noticed it before. We've noticed the scoreboard doesn't flow continuously, sort of jumps in and out of just even how the clock is running. So they may have to run the time on the field. I think maybe the referee is pulling out his iPhone, and he's going to keep the clock on the field. I think we've got we do have the clock operator working off feverishly to our left. So anyway, Westinghouse on the field. Bully, quick pass, quick hitter over the middle. Receiver still on his feet. Out across the 40-yard line. So big gainer there on first down. I don't want to get Dolphin fans too comfortable here because Bully can definitely lead them back. He's shown a great arm today. So you saw that spot down the middle. Now he flips it out here over his receiver, out of the hands of number 4, Lavelle Winfield Jr. So brings up 2nd down and 10 from the Dolphin 40-yard line. Again, 13-0 Dolphins lead here in the 4th quarter. Defense, again, is Jacob Mraz playing the right defensive end spot, number 20, closest to us. Nick Dale pulling two-way duty all day today on the D-line. Bob and Efesimi Opadelli, who always does that, and Barry Gordon also on the D-line. Barry Gordon bringing down Bully. So Bully got a nice gainer there, but Gordon was able to pursue him before he picked up the 1st down. So 3rd and short. 3rd and short. Bully looking for that short pass on the side, which he gets. Completes it in front of Quinn Duhan. So for the 1st down, that was Dwayne Brooks picking up the 1st down for Westinghouse. So they're on the move here. And again, they're going to maximize every possession. So if they get in the end zone here, they're going to onside kick it and give themselves another opportunity. So time for the Dolphin defense to stiffen up. There's Bully on the run. Bully staying alive. Quinn Duhan bringing him down just outside the 10-yard line. So there you can see a lot of what Bully can do. He is dynamic. He has that Kyler Murray in him where he can just really make it, put a defense on skates right there. And they're pushing the tempo. Pushing the tempo. Bully flips it over to his right. Receiver looking for the edge. You got Anthony Hood on the tackle, out of bounds, but inside the 10, maybe down to about the 5-yard line. So Westinghouse on a drive right now. They took over at their 40, but they're at the Dolphins' 5-yard line. Here's where Bully is definitely dangerous, this spot on the field. Jacob Mraz with a nice pursuit off the left-hand side of the defensive line.
Big play by the Dolphins there,
yeah,
to at least get some resistance here on a drive that was just clicking.
Yeah, Mraz, the senior defensive end, he won't get credited with the tackle, but he gets credited with the play, because what he did is force that outside and then allowed the rest of that Dolphin defense to close the gap. So 3rd down. I think they can get a 1st down at about the 2-yard line. So
a procedure penalty.
Hey, we haven't had one in a while, and it was opportunistic. So Westinghouse jumps before the snap, so the referees will march off 5 yards. Still, I'm not sure. Okay, so is it yeah, it's a 3rd down play.
From about the 12.
It looks like we've got somebody down on the Whitney Young side, so we'll have trainer Sam check that out.
Barry, think about how big that play was, the big stop on the run. Westinghouse had clicked off, 4, 5, 6 positive plays in a row. You get the big stop for a loss on the run, and then boom, right after that, we get them for a procedure penalty, and got them back on their heels a little bit more. That was a runaway train of a drive that Westinghouse had going, and one big play really helped put a stop to it here.
Temporary stop.
Temporary stop. See if they can make another big stop here, but at least slow down that momentum a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think the player down, I'm guessing, is maybe cramp related. Again, these guys that play both offense and defense, they don't have a whole lot of time to hit the sidelines and hydrate. So sometimes a lot of times I just watch to see what gets taken out on the field. When it's a few Gatorade bottles, usually that is meaning that it's cramping up. So that is Jason Perez, who has played a ton on the defensive line as well as all of his time on the offensive side. So he's getting a little extra Little extra fluids there.
And especially on the defensive side of the ball, Westinghouse not huddling hardly at all today. Yep. At tempo almost the entire game.
Yeah, a lot of plays. Sometimes you just don't, you can look at the end of the game and you've only had about 100 plays total. We definitely have well over that. So 3rd down, Bully, the quarterback. Bully back to pass. Bully looking, still looking. He's waving guys deep. He's got a guy open, but incomplete. So good job by the defensive line. Good job by Babanefasimi Opadele in getting through there. Good coverage, too. Good coverage on the backside by the Dolphins defenders. So it brings up 4th down. 4th down and about 8, so they can get a 1st down at the 2-yard line. But this is a big play for the Dolphins defense. Bully at quarterback. Bully back to pass. There's a big hold. Not called. Bully open, but dragged down. Tackle, ball is free, but doesn't matter either way. That was Alexander Dale coming up.
Alexander Dale, huge play there.
Yeah, I was scared. Bully on the loose.
I wish we could tell you how much time left now. We don't know exactly, but that will go down as a really big play.
Is that the technical term for it?
You've talked a lot about Bully. Man, he was loose on that play. Danced to his right, came back to his left. Looked like he maybe had an ability to make a play. So now the offense can grind out a couple 1st downs here. We got to be awfully close here on time, even though we don't know exactly what's left.
Yeah, I would guess in the 5-minute range. So Newman at quarterback. Clayton swallowed up in a hurry, so he's going to lose a few on that. I mean, Westinghouse knows what's coming right now. So I probably haven't mentioned enough. Chase Green again checking in on the offensive line today for the Dolphins. So doing a good job up front. Green, Jason Perez, Nick Dale, Babanefasimi Opadele. I could just call him Opadele, but when you can call him Babanefasimi Opadele, why would you not? As well as MJ Woods running the table right now at offensive line. So Newman getting Dale going to the left. Handoff to Clayton, who's met but is able to get away. Still getting his feet going, so gets positive yardage out of that. He could have been brought down in the backfield, but gets a nice gainer, which allows the Dolphins to keep the clock moving. 3rd down and about 7. I would imagine that the Dolphins just keep the ball on the ground here. Keep the clock moving. 13-0 again, somewhere in the 4th quarter. So Newman with Clayton to his right. Gets the snap, pulls it, hits Hood over on the side.
Probably going to be just short.
Yep, just short. Clock keeps moving, so.
Nice pass, nice catch.
So just a couple yards short. So brings up 4th down. So this again is what you want to have a good exchange here. Ben Barrett has been doing a great job on the long snaps all year. Gonna deliver it to Alexander Dale right on the money. Kick is away. Kick is rolling. Dolphins roll. Westinghouse picks it up. Still running. Good pursuit. Alexander Dale kind of looking around like, hey, I think he got cleaned up with a, oh. Yeah, he's mentioned to the official that was an illegal block on him. But Warriors do pick it up, take it across the 50-yard line.
Well, that was a low liner with the roll. That was almost a 40-yard punt. They did get about a 6-yard return on that, but I think that's a pretty good result from the Dolphins, even though Westinghouse does have it on the Dolphin side of the field right here.
Yep, so at the 46, Bully back on the field. Quarterback for Westinghouse. He's going to be looking deep, I'm sure. Looking deep, I'm sure. Over the outstretched arms of his receivers. Looks like we had Quinn Duhan and I think Joseph Gray over in there. Again, we've mentioned a couple times, Jim and Diane Brown, our best to you in St. Louis. We'll get you up here to watch a game soon. Quinn's been doing more defensive work than offensive work, but we've seen him light it up all over the field this year. Big punt return against Good. A lot of really nice receptions. Big touchdown pass a couple weeks ago. Last week against Phillips. So Bully back on, 2nd and 10. Bully looking deep again. He's got a receiver. I think that was Dwayne Brooks. Bully is impressive.
Great quarterback play. The Dolphins are definitely making sure nothing gets over their head at this point. There were 4 guys beyond that pass to try to protect, but really impressive at quarterback from Bully.
Yeah, I think the Dolphins are going to call a timeout there, I hope, because they had some guys out of position. Maxwell Warner was scampering over to the left-hand side. So Coach Finger takes a timeout. Coach Malik not happy with guys, saying, hey, let's keep it together here. Let's know our assignments. So timeout taken. Actually, I think that first timeout for either squad here in the 4th quarter.
Sure would be nice to know how much time is left.
Yeah, that would make me probably feel better. But
normally the listening audience would be depending on the play-by-play guys to let them know. But I'm telling you, we don't know ourselves. So
the scoreboard is blank right now. It's like we're in an alternative universe where time doesn't matter.
We do know it's 13-0 Dolphins, and the scoreboard's not telling us that either. But 7 plus 6, 13.
Yeah, even a couple of journalism majors can figure that one out. So I think Coach Finger probably checking in as well, saying, hey, what are we looking at? What are we looking at here for time? So it'll be first down. Westinghouse on a drive in Dolphin territory, about the 28-yard line. Bully at quarterback. Gets the snap. Looking to his right. He's got a receiver over there. Receiver brought down inside the 10.
Again, impressive play. Impressive play, given that there basically were 7 defensive backs in on that play.
Yep.
And still, they found room to complete that.
Tyson Hayes lost his shoe. He's trying to get his shoe on while Bully's back at the line of scrimmage already. Dolphins were really out of sorts there. Finger didn't take a timeout, but Bully, I think, just a quarterback keeper up the middle.
Fortunate to stop him there. Again, the clock runs on that play.
So they are at the 2-yard line. Again, 13-0, but Westinghouse knocking on the door. Nice tackle, Baba. Nefasimi Opadele. Shooting through there, making the tackle for loss.
Brings up 3rd down, but more importantly, again, the clock continues to run here.
Yeah, and Westinghouse has all of their timeouts, so I don't know. Maybe there's more time on the clock than what we think. And they know that they need 2 scores. So there's Bully alive. Tipped at the line of scrimmage by Mraz. So Mraz, he wanted the interception on that one, but we'll take the tip. I mean, if Jacob Mraz is able to get that, he's got nothing but green in front of him. And green, the color of the turf, not Westinghouse uniforms.
Brings up 4th down here.
4th down.
Timeout, Westinghouse. They're going to talk this over. They really need this score to have any chance at all in this game. They're going to take a timeout to talk it over.
So back-to-back nice plays by the D-line of the Dolphins. So Baba Nefasimi Opadele coming through for a tackle for loss, and then Mraz getting a mitt up in the way of a Bully pass. Bringing up 4th down, again 13-0 with some amount of time left here in the 4th quarter. Dolphins trying to corral a victory here. a conference matchup, a Red North Conference matchup. And tough game against, as we said, Westinghouse. The Dolphins were able to win 21-12 last year. Westinghouse coming in today at 3-3. Dolphins coming in at 1-5. So trying to close out the year, the last month here, in the right way. So if we look across the line, we see Nick Dale in the middle of that line with his brother Alex right behind him. D-line, 55 is Opadelli. Number 2, BG3, Barry Gordon III. Joseph Clayton, we called his number many times today, number 7. So what are you thinking? You running, you passing, you just putting the ball in Bully's hands? You just drew up a play in the dirt over there and said run around and stay alive and find the end zone.
Yep, RPO for Bully right here.
And they fooled all of us. Run up the middle by number 2, Tyler Randall. Gets in the end zone. So all the focus for us and the Dolphins on Bully. And the Westinghouse play that they drew up was, hey, let's just give it off to Tyler Randall. And he walked untouched into the end zone. So they're going to go for 2 here. So it's 13-6 right now. 13-6. Ooh, 6, not 12. And the 2-point is good.
I'm not sure if that, I don't think that was even Bully in there, but it may have been. Certainly it opened wide up for him. They faked some stuff out to the right-hand side and basically a quarterback draw right up the middle for the 2-point conversion.
All right, so that tightens it up. Tightens up lots of stuff on me right now. 13-8 in the fourth quarter. As we've said, Westinghouse, we know that's what we're going to be expecting here. We've got the, okay, so we're getting we're 4:59 left in the game. So, we've got it. Al Newman, your job is to tell us how much time is left here. Check in every once in a while. So 4:59 left. The Dolphins leading 13-8. Hands team on the field. Hands team on the field. Westinghouse lining up for what we fully expect to be an onside kick. I get the signal from the referee. Kick is booted deep.
Whistle stopped the play here.
I think Coach Finger called a timeout. So timeout by Whitney Young. That'll maybe make Westinghouse think over what they were doing there as well. They ended up trying to just bounce that thing deep. And maybe they look at it a little differently. I mean, their offense has moved the ball, right? So with Whitney Young, you got to field the onside kick, but then you're still in a position where you need to convert some first downs here.
Absolutely. Now that we know the time, I would have guessed it more elapsed than that, but we're hearing now that it is about 4:59, just under 5 minutes left. So absolutely, this is not kneel down time whatsoever. Whitney Young offense needs to show up right now. First, special teams, right? Make sure that they cover this kick. And then the offense is going to need to take care of some clock.
So Dockett deep. Hands team on the field. Westinghouse now does the same sort of thing. Kicks it off straight out of bounds. On the right-hand side, their coaching staff is not happy about that at all. I think they wanted to give them a little bit more, like a little more altitude on that so they could circle down there. I mean, that's one of the things when you have a hands team in, you only have one guy deep. There's a big gap in between that you got to rush up and cover. So, but like as you said, maybe incorrectly last time, where it's like, oh, it's just 5 yards. The Dolphins will take over.
I think at about the 35, right? Went out of bounds there at the 30, and then they should get the 5 yards on top of this.
Yep, so about the 35-yard line, 13-8. Looks like the clock is trying to come back on, but it's not. So Newman at quarterback. Gray, Duhan, Hood at wide receivers. Certainly would be nice to get Joseph Clayton going here. There's the pitch to Duhan. Duhan turns it up, picks up a few. So probably picked up 5 on that first down forward pass from Newman to Duhan, something that worked successfully in the first half. Safe play in that if that thing goes to the ground, it's just an incomplete pass. Also a nice way to press the edge a little bit.
Also does keep the clock moving. I know we talked about the fact that there's too much clock to worry about that. We need first downs, but it does keep the clock moving.
Newman at quarterback. Hand off to Clayton. Clayton on his feet. Oh, just tripped up. Clayton was going to log a first down there, but just got tripped up by a Westinghouse defender off on the right-hand side. So that'll bring up 3rd and short, 3rd and about 3 yards. Looks like the Dolphins need to get to their 45-yard line. So, yep, just a little over 3 yards they need to get. Let's see if that offensive line can get some push. On a 3rd and short, they were able to spring Clayton for a touchdown earlier this quarter. So 3rd and 3. Newman checking things over at his quarterback position. Handoff to Clayton. Clayton met in the backfield, working, but couldn't get to the first down marker.
Interesting call here.
Yep, so 4th down. And even though Westinghouse only has 8 on the board, they've definitely moved the ball. So the Dolphins are heading out there.
Big play. Let's see what they've got dialed up here. Again, need about 3 yards.
This is on 3. Newman going to be out there. See if he can draw off Westinghouse, I got to imagine. Duhan in motion. No. Clayton met and dropped right at the 40-yard line. So Westinghouse takes over on downs. I thought for sure they were just going to go up there and hard count and try to get Westinghouse to jump off sides. But Coach Finger dialed up the running play, and you got the Dolphins defense back on the field. Westinghouse, who have definitely moved the ball well. 3:40 left. Thank you, Peter Barry Gordon. 3:40 left in the game. Bully at quarterback. Handoff. Gainer. First down. Close to the first down. Taken out of bounds by Joseph Clayton. So that was number 2, Tyler Randall. Westinghouse fans getting fired up as well. They should right now. Westinghouse, ball back in their hands, driving here in Dolphins territory. Clock running around the 3:20 mark, I would think, at this point. So Bully gets the snap, back to pass. Looking, he's got a lane. Then he flips it out, incomplete to his receiver, and Jacob Morales got held in the backfield. So that's going to cost them 10 yards from the spot. So I think that flag came out at about the 42-yard line. So that's going to be a big loss of yardage for the Warriors on that. And so nice job by Morales putting the pressure off the corner, and
while it
dragged down.
While it wouldn't have mattered because of the penalty, a rare misfire by Bully. He was high and out on that, but here we go.
So 2nd and 13 from the Dolphin 45. Bully back to pass. Complete. Short of the first down. It's kind of arbitrary. I saw Barry Gordon just got tackled over on the left-hand side of the play. Two-hand takedown on him. But anyway, 3rd down, 3rd and about 4. Bully gets the snap, back to pass. He's got a receiver, completes it just outside the 20-yard line. Just outside the 20, so Westinghouse on the drive here.
No huddle again, hurry up.
Dolphins scrambling to get in position. Bully keeps it. Bully with room to run up the middle. Takes it close to a first down. So we'll have to see here. I wonder if there was a timeout called on the play. So Bully did a really nice job. Let the rushers sort of come by and then took off up the middle. So I think it's going to be a first. I think it's a first down, 1st and 10 from just outside the 10, it looks like.
That's how they've got it marked. I thought there was some uncertainty by the officials, but I think they've got it settled now.
So just outside the 10, yeah, you could get a first down at the half-a-yard line. It looks like Jason Perez checking back in. Dolphin defense on its heels here in the second part of the 4th quarter as Bully has done the job passing and with his feet. Bully's been able to find spots in that Dolphin zone where he's had receivers open and he's delivered. 2:05 left in the game, so 2:05 left. And I'm guessing that was a Westinghouse timeout.
With 2:05 left here, the clock really probably is not a factor for Westinghouse. That would be more a factor if Whitney Young has to come back and score after a score.
Yep. So Dolphin defense needs to come up with a play here. Dynamic Askaya Bully back to pass. He had 2 receivers there. So 2 receivers there. There's some Dolphin fans that are sort of incensed because they're not calling holding penalties right now. And I don't know if you're seeing it on the field, if I'm seeing the same thing everybody else is seeing, but seems like guys are just getting tackled there left and right. But flags are staying in pockets, which is fine because the officials are always right. It brings up 2nd down, so that the clock stops. So we're just a little under 2 minutes left here. 2nd down. Bully at quarterback for the Warriors. Hands off. Oh, no, keeps it. Keeps it. Bunch of guys in there. So
nice
Joseph
pursuit to
Clayton.
the ball.
Yep, Joseph Clayton and I think Bob and Efesimi maybe on the backside of that.
Bully made a great move in the backfield to avoid about a 5 or 6 yard loss, but the Dolphins really rallied nicely there. 3rd down.
Yep. Dolphins kind of scrambling around here again. Bully with a receiver in the middle. He's tackled. There's also a flag down on the play.
Let's see about the flag. It's a hold.
Hold against Westinghouse. Bully had completed that pass. I think Alexander Dale made the tackle just before the goal line.
We would have been looking at 4th and 2 with the game on the line, but Westinghouse has got some work to do now, bringing it back.
So that brings the ball out to about the 20-yard line. So it'll be 3rd down. 3rd down, I'm sure everybody's gassed right now. 3rd down, Bully back to pass. Bully's got a guy open. Great tackle.
Great tackle.
Tackle by Duhan.
That'll bring up 4th down. I think we got a timeout or maybe an injured player. The clock has been stopped.
All All right, so Duhan came up and made that hit, keeping the receiver out of the end zone. It's going to bring up 4th down, I think.
Yep, this is it.
So a timeout on the field. Probably, yeah, I'm guessing that timeout would be Westinghouse.
Yep, I believe it was.
And I don't know. I mean, it's tough to tell. We don't have the scoreboard here. I'm not sure if they have one left, if Westinghouse has one left. I think that Dolphins have taken 2.
We had that stoppage earlier that we never were quite clear who took the timeout. But, again, at this point, I don't think that hardly matters. We got a 4th down play here coming up, and this is the ball game.
Yep, this is the ball game. Fourth down. They can get a 1st down inside the 1, but they're going to be starting with the ball at about the 6-yard line. Last time they were down here, we were all keyed in on Messiah Bully as the quarterback, and they were able to get a handoff to Tyler Randall, who took it to the house for a score, and then the 2-point conversion, making this a very, very tight game. 13-8 here, inside of 2 minutes left in the game. So Dolphin defense going to be out there. Jacob Moraz, Jason Perez, Bob and Efesimio Padele, Clayton and Dale at linebacker. Fans are on their feet here as well. They should be. Cowbells are ringing. Bully gets the snap. Bully surveys the field. He's got room. He's got a receiver.
Complete.
And complete. Touchdown. There was a whole horde of people in the middle there. I think that might have been Dwayne Brooks who brought it down.
Hard to see numbers here, but just a killer for the Dolphins. Defense has played an incredible game all day, but just couldn't come up with a play right there with the game on the line.
So 14-13 now. Looking for the 2-point conversion. Bully looking off to the side, overthrows his receiver. So the Dolphins will have a little bit of time. Probably call it about a minute left here.
Yep, still time to make something big happen. Here, one last gasp for the Dolphins. They'll be going into a little bit of wind, although as you said, it's died down quite a bit. We'll see what Westinghouse decides to do here on the kick.
Yeah, well, I'm sure they're going to kick. Well, I would imagine they would kick it deeper, do similar to what they did last time, where they're and this too for Coach Finger. I mean, maybe you're not rolling out the hands team on this one, and you're having a more traditional setup where you'd have some of those up guys, and maybe you have Anthony Hood in a position like that. Although it does seem still the hands setup that's in there. Dockett is positioning himself close to where that ball went out of bounds last time. Brandon Dockett with 2 kickoff returns in his JV career. Maybe he can come up with one here. So Dockett deep. He's planting himself right on that sideline, thinking that's where Westinghouse is going to go to, which they do. He fields it. He's coming back to this side. He gets hammered down at the 30. So the Dolphins will take over. Dolphins take over trailing 14-13. Newman on the field at quarterback. We're going to call it about a minute left, so they're going to clearly have to go in hurry up and be looking at the sidelines. Wind in their face.
Looking for some kind of magic here, some kind of big play to get this thing started.
Newman to pass. Incomplete off the left-hand side. So definitely need to work the sidelines here.
Had 4 receivers going deep there, nobody shallow at all, and that's obviously what they need to do at this point.
Yeah, and I think what Newman's doing is if that look isn't there and he's getting a blitz, he's just trying to throw it away and then live for the next play. So Westinghouse with a huge fourth quarter rally. 2 scores within the last, call it, 8 minutes of the game to put them up 14-13. Dolphins on the field. We don't have a clock here, so we don't know how much time is left, but it's not much. Newman back, gets it to Hood. Hood ushered out of bounds at about the 37-yard line. So Dolphins are taking a timeout right here. I think Coach Finger's asking about, because I think they were rolling the clock. So I think he was wondering why the clock was rolling, why he had to take a timeout when Hood clearly got out of bounds.
Yeah, it sure seemed like Hood was out over there. I don't understand what's going on.
So that official is maintaining that he was tackled in bounds. So
Coach Finger is going to still have a conversation there, but they've said now that Whitney Young does have to take its timeout and that he was stopped in bounds.
So that's their final timeout. Final timeout.
Well, Barry, what do they have in the playbook for this?
I think they're drawing it up right now.
They certainly have some talented athletes. You know, you never know what can break loose. They've got some speed guys. They've got some athleticism. Maybe this is one that you run a couple of times at practice just for kicks, and now you bring it out.
Yeah, I mean, not really knowing how much time is left with this. They've got, what do they have, 1, 2, or 3 plays.
We got trips right here. Receiver left as well.
So they get it out of the outstretched hands of Joseph Clayton. I think Newman is also down. I think he took a hit on that one.
Brings up 4th down.
So 4th down. Maybe a play left here, maybe 2 plays left. Newman checking back in, so he's got Duhan, Hood, and Joseph Gray, Alex Dale as his options, as well as Joseph Clayton at running back. Actually, Anthony Dockett, or Brandon Dockett, sorry, Brandon Dockett on the field. So Dockett on the field. Newman looking at least for a first down here to keep things going. Duhan in motion to his right. Newman looks off to his left, looks deep. That's going to be up for Anthony Hood, broken up by the Westinghouse defensive back, and Westinghouse is going to win this game.
Going to hang on. And Dolphins looked good at 13-0, but again, a big fourth quarter there for Westinghouse.
So I think Westinghouse can probably just come out here and get in the
couple kneel downs here probably formation. Is about all we've got left.
So Dolphins out of timeouts. And yeah, Bully, I mean, the story probably Bully's ability to throw and run, but his throwing was really the difference in this game. And then the Dolphin turnovers in the first half, right? So there were 3 interceptions thrown by the Dolphins, 2 by Newman, 1 by Hood in Westinghouse territory. So you came away without points in those situations and left yourself vulnerable for that end of game rally by the Westinghouse Warriors. So Westinghouse improves to 4-3 on the year. the Dolphins drop to 1-6. Still some games on the schedule that are very winnable for the Dolphins. So I think a big part for us as fans and for Coach Finger as a team. We know this is a young team. We know that Alex Dale has been playing all year as a senior. Jacob Moraz made some nice plays today checking in on the seniors, but those are the only 2 seniors in this entire team. So you have a lot of underclassmen, a lot of freshmen that we're calling names of today, sophomores. And so these guys will be back. I mean, this is, unfortunately, I hate to say it, but a character building type of thing. These are the kind of games that you need to learn from, because when you roll around to next year and you have a situation like this and you're coming into an opposing school, they're at homecoming, they've got a big fan base out there, and you get a lead, you gotta take care of business. And again, a lot of nice plays today. It did, as you said, you were kind of spinning it as an interesting game in the first half, where maybe it wasn't that interesting. It certainly got interesting down the stretch.
Plenty of positives, too, to point to. As you said, it's a character-building game, and I'm sure it's going to be tough. But, boy, that defense, you talked about the plays that Bully made. They really kept him contained for much of the game. Again, a scoreless first half. And he was able to make plays down the stretch when he had to, but lots of really positive plays. The one big touchdown pass by the Dolphins, I'm sure, is the highlight of the day as well, but came up just short today.
Yep, so final score 14-13. I want to thank Doug Newman for joining me on the broadcast today.
Happy to be here.
Yep.
Wish we could have had a different result, but good luck the rest of the way out to you and the Coach Finger and the entire team. It's been a pleasure to join you today.
All right, so thanks to Doug. Thanks to Dolphin Nation. Thanks for joining us today on the live stream. Our thanks, as always, to Principal Ricky Harris, to Athletic Director Chris Cassidy, and, of course, to Coach Daniel Finger and the rest of the Dolphin coaching staff for everything that they do. We'll be back on air next week, next Friday against Taft. Have yourself a great rest of the weekend, everybody. Thanks again. Talk to you soon.